There we go. I think the intro didn't play, maybe, or maybe it
No,
did. I don't know, but
no.
didn't play on our end at least. Welcome to another week of Rock Players. We have a lovely panel, small panel today, but that doesn't mean that we will be any less chatty. I think we'll, if anything, we'll talk more. So yeah, please help me welcome Dr. Spaceman
Hello there.
and
Thanks for the
Team
invite.
Gaming. Yeah, no, thank you for being here, and
I
welcome Matthias.
I have to ask Dr. Spaceman one thing before we go on further. Do you have
Sure.
do you have a PhD in space in being space manly?
Unfortunately, not. I am a fake. I don't hold a PhD. Although
Ah,
I am in aviation, but I don't hold a PhD.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm Matthias.
Nice
Yeah,
meeting you, by the way.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's nice.
and I mean, Matthias, you're also you go under the moniker of Ally Gaming because you're very focused on the Rogue Ally
Yeah.
and finals in general. But yeah, so but guys, what have you been playing lately? It's been a while since I saw both of you. So, any fun games you've been playing lately?
For myself, I've been playing all kind of stuff lately. It's been we've been bombarded by great games this year.
Oh yeah,
Lately, I've been getting back into Cyberpunk 2077 with the 2.0 update. I didn't get the DLC, but I'm starting a character from scratch, seeing the story, and the updates have been phenomenal. They've rebalanced a lot of mechanics in the game, a lot of systems that have entirely changed, and really appreciating what they did with the game. Other than that, I've been looking at a bunch of other games lately, like Baldur's Gate 3. There's still Final Fantasy 16. I haven't had the time to finish. That's on my rotation right now, and a whole lot of other games right now. So it's a bit of a all-you-can-eat fest this year. So a lot of
oh
game.
yeah, it is. It is. There's a lot of games out there this year. It's crazy here. Matthias, how about you? What have you been playing?
I'm very stoked about the 2.0 update for Cyberpunk and also the new is it called Phantom Liberty, the new one.
Yep,
The
Idris Elba.
cyber Yes, Cyberpunk has been one of my absolute favorite games. I told you this before, Bjorn, that it worked perfectly on release on Stadia, and I mean
Yep.
that game is such a fantastic game. But I'm intrigued in testing the 2.0 how it works on the Ally and the Steam Deck. So I'll get to that. But apart from that, I haven't been playing that much, unfortunately. But a bit of Starfield, a bit of Baldur's Gate. I have been planning to do videos though of product reviews and stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I showed Bjorn this. This is what I will be reviewing next.
Ooh, little projector. Is that a laser?
No, it's a power station.
Oh,
So this,
Battery powered.
yeah. So with this, you can run whatever gaming devices you want in the woods. So it will be cool. I'm gonna run it to the Steam Deck and the Ally to see what that's like.
nice.
So I've been into that stuff lately. Bjorn, what have you been up to?
We lost your audio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we
still
still
nothing.
lost you. Put the cable in.
Just trying to figure out what is going on with the microphone. It's
I
all
mean, I know
normal.
what the issue is.
Oh,
The issue is I bump my cable, and then whenever I
Ah,
touch the mic in the wrong place, and then I have to disconnect it and cut the mic.
never touch the mic in the wrong place.
I know, but I feel like maybe I could fix a bit with the gain. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. It's been like surprisingly much this to be me. I think this week. Started up. And apart from that, I did start playing Disney Speedstorm on my phone. Just
Yeah.
because I noticed it's going being free. So I figured I should get a jump on that and see what that's all about. And
Yeah.
almost the same thing with the new, not FIFA, the EA Sports FC, the mobile edition,
Yeah.
just to have some mobile gaming. But then it's been mostly Baldur's Gate. Today I played a little bit of the new Paw Patrol game that drops tomorrow. I can't say anything. I don't think I'm allowed to say anything else on that, other than that I played it.
You outright can't say anything.
Yeah, I outright can't say anything.
I'm sorry. I'm doing sign language here because they asked if we know sign language in the
I'm
chat.
not doing sign language. I'm just scratching my nose, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm trying to say my name in sign language. I don't know if it's right, but
and
yeah.
Rokk, the reason why I disconnected my mic was I was trying to increase the gain a little bit on the mic. But yeah, it's on the other side of it, and I had to like twist it to see that I'm turning it in the right direction. But I think I failed. But let's just bring it.
I don't know
Oh.
if it's if I said that the volume was very low, Bjorn. It might be that you are very low, your volume, because Dr. Spaceman his volume is very high. So I don't know if what does the listeners and viewers
Right
say?
now you're muted. I think you've hit your cable again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did when
Yep.
I moved it closer. But yeah, should be fine.
It's a lot better now.
Like, yeah, I did move it closer, so I think that helps. Like, the mic distance is key. But yeah, but there's been a lot of news this week. Like I've been a bit off checking up on news. Basically, all the time I've spent on my phone has been not checking news for once, but instead playing Baldur's Gate. So yeah, so I've just looked through it and like an hour ago and realized, oh dang, there's a lot of it. So but before we get into the news, I do want to just show this to people. So like we don't need to listen to have the audio of that. So but yeah, so if you didn't see it, the cast of Baldur's Gate 3 was playing D&D on the High Rollers YouTube channel and Twitch stream. If you missed it, definitely watch it back. It's so good. It's like, yeah, I mean, think Critical Role, but with the cast and crew of like all the voice actors of the companions of Baldur's Gate playing their own characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was so much fun. It's a small one-shot adventure where they go into the city from Baldur's Gate 2 for a short adventure. And in this, they meet the imp called Bing Bong, who says Bing Bong. That's all he can say in common. Otherwise, he only speaks Infernal. And Shadowheart falls in love with this little creature and adopts it. And there's a lovely adventure. I'm not going to spoil what happens to it. Let's just say there's a hashtag going around called Justice for Bing Bong.
You sold it to me. Sold it to me.
It's like 4 hours of amazing, awesomeness. And then it went to the point where the voice actor for Karlach sends a message to be like with Karlach's view on the whole Bing Bong memorial thing. And so did Deborah Wild, the actress behind Lae'zel, who was more than involved in the fate of Bing Bong.
But is it the same Bing Bong as Inside Out, where he's like half cotton candy, half
he's
dolphin,
an imp
half?
like they get to this like magic item mall, and he's an imp who sits at the door, the door, and it's basically just a glorified door opener who goes Bing Bong whenever he opens the door. People.
Fantastic.
And they were like, we're gonna take him with us and keep him like as our pet. And it's just
I love it.
And it's gotten to the point where like I think this is the third the second video from Deborah Wild, like, sorry Shadowheart, I shouldn't have killed it. Yeah, it's Bing Bong is the highlight of it, of an amazing stream that you should.
She looks so much like Lae'zel.
Yeah, she's using a filter that makes her nose smaller. Other than that, I think they modeled part of it on her to her face.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely worth checking those streams out. And
I will check it out.
But yeah, let's do that one later. Let's begin with some PlayStation news. I think first of all we have the monthly games for October. Any favorites among these? Anything you're gonna check out?
To be honest, I haven't tried any of those. I've been looking at Callisto Protocol for a while. So it's made by the same guy who was the head of Dead Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, he created his own studio. I've seen that just days ago he actually quit the studio. I think I don't know if it had to do anything with performance of the game or anything, but I believe that he did quit the studio a few days ago, which is sad. But apparently the game is a lot of fun. There was some performance issues on certain platform, but before the release of the game, Sony sent something like, I think, 150 engineers, something like that, to assist with game development and optimizing for the PS5. So PS5 was the platform where performance was good for this game. They did a great job there. So it'll be interesting to finally give it a try. Farming Simulator. I've never been a Farming Simulator fan, but I might give it a try. I know there's a large fan base.
Like, I always keep thinking like I want to get into it because it seems like such a fun community, but I don't really like.
Does it?
Like, I mean, it's a like there is a whole esports scene even.
Yeah. Does it seem fun?
It's
like
a simulator
from the outside,
game.
Yeah. I don't think it is like when you're in it, but like from the outside, it looks super fun.
Just imagine the land parties you can have, like plowing 200 acres of field.
Exactly. It's kind of like when Bus Simulator was on the PS Plus. I was like, maybe that's fun. I played it for like 20 minutes. Like, no, it wasn't.
To be honest, I enjoy the simulator games. I played the Farming Simulator, and I can enjoy it. The last ones I bought was some sort of a train sim bundle from Humble Bundle, and it's fun. But it's easy to go deep the rabbit hole if you get into that shit. Yeah. Sorry.
Definitely. What do you guys know about Weird West? Because I've never heard of that game.
I've heard very good things about that game. It's more of a strategy game. I saw someone comment that it's like if you like Baldur's Gate 3, you're likely to like that. So it's over like isometric strategy game with RPG elements. But I've heard like when the game came out, heard a bunch of people say a lot of good comments about it. So definitely a game to try out.
Isn't that Raw Fury that that published it?
Possibly. I know it's a small studio, but so it was developed by Wolfeye Studios, and it's published by Devolver Digital.
Devolver, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Callisto Protocol.
There's a lot of people who really like that.
Yeah, I reviewed it for the channel, and it was. I came up to a point where it was super hard, and then I gave up. I understand what some people said, that it was kind of tedious sometimes, and sometimes people felt it was a bit boring, like same stuff happening over and over again. But the atmosphere and everything was really, really well done. So you have to try it.
For me, it's a nope based on the whole horror aspects of it.
Yeah, but it's not scary.
Yeah, but I'll feel uneasy playing it from the clips I've seen, and I don't like feeling uneasy when I play games. But yeah, but at the same time, I can see the appeal of it for sure. But yeah, but I might give Weird West a try if I have time. But knowing myself and the games in the pipeline in October, I don't think I will, if I'm being honest. But I should, because I do. I mean, I do pay for PS Plus. I barely use it.
And those are the monthly game for the basically the basic subscription. So the moment you have PS Plus, you have access to those. It's not part of the monthly catalog update. So once you have them claimed, no matter, as long as you have PS Plus, you have access to those games. They
Exactly,
never
yeah.
leave.
And then obviously the extra tier and premium tier gets more games in like 2 weeks from now ish.
Yep.
We'll see what comes then. I also noticed that for any new owners of a PlayStation 5 up until I think October 20th, I saw this somewhere. There's a thing where you, like if you when you register your new device, you get essentially a voucher for a free game. From a
Yep.
participating list of games. I don't have anything linked for that, but yeah, I did come across that. I think in the push notes.
I do
this
think it's limited to the US for that promotion
Might be
at the moment.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But there is a pretty impressive list of
yeah, it
titles
was
on
like
there,
Spider-Man and God of War and everything, like some big
Yeah.
and Ghost of Tsushima, I think as well. Some big
That-
first-party games.
That is something they don't lose any money on.
Yeah, they
not
should do that more
really.
often.
Yeah, they should do that for like give people 3 games or whatever. This is the one of the things that bother me with the PlayStation, that stuff like this, they could easily give away stuff like that to make it make it more like before. When you got PS Plus, you had this bunch of like Ratchet and Clank and stuff.
Yeah,
Like the 30 games that they took away then after
I
a while.
missed that with 25 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took it away 25 days before I got mine.
Why?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I don't know.
That was established basically. There was a reason why they did that promotion. It was to encourage people to get a PS5, knowing that like with COVID and everything happening, there was not enough there was not enough supply of PS5s for everyone. It was meant to be just a very short promotion for early adopters of the PS5. But for as long as they were not able to keep PS5 units in the stores, they extended that promotion. So
Yeah.
it was supposed to be just a momentaneous promotion, but they kept it on like for more than a year, like almost 2 years, I think.
Yeah,
They should-
And
2.5 even, I think.
I
yeah,
mean, they should keep it, because it's not like some of these games are old games that they won't sell that much of, but it's still good games that is a perfect introduction to the PlayStation platform.
Yeah, there's a lot
Mhm.
of
I mean-
really good showcases in there.
Yeah, why not keep it?
And it's like, yeah, and it's first party, so yeah, and like
it
Just
wasn't
make it
just
part of
first
PS
party.
Plus.
There was a lot
Oh,
of
yeah,
third
yeah,
party
I-
games. There
yeah,
was
you're
like
right.
Call of Duty Black Ops
they
4
could have,
or
they
3,
could
I
have
think.
removed the third party ones and
Uh.
like had a new bundle, like, oh, these first party games, like these 10 first party games is included with any PS Plus subscription if you have a PS5.
But also it came as they were modifying the PlayStation Plus subscription.
Yeah, it was a weird
and including
timing.
PlayStation Now into it. So I think they wanted to reshape everything to push people into subscribing to the new catalog. So business-wise, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, originally it was supposed to be there only for a few months, and they extended it. So
Yeah.
still was there
But
for
who knows? It might
really long
change.
time.
Things might change a lot now. Because I like that segue. Because CEO Jim Ryan is set to retire.
Yes.
Yep.
They,
Yeah.
not what I had in my
30
cards
years.
for now.
Hmm?
But yeah, I mean, sure. I suppose he's getting older and might want to take a break. Or maybe he's being forced out. I don't know.
He already explained a while ago what was going on. Last year in an interview, he was already planning on retiring in a certain window of time.
Okay, yeah, I must have missed that.
Because,
But-
go ahead.
Yeah, don't you think he kind of was a bit pushed? Because some of I mean, I used to love PlayStation, but I think that the last 10 odd years they've been doing not the best business moves.
Quite the
Uh,
opposite, actually. PlayStation has never been in a stronger position. They've done a lot of moves. It's not the same as like Xbox with Game Pass that's providing you the day-and-date games and all that. Like people have been discussing that a lot. That is a direction that Sony can't afford to take, because I don't want to get into console war arguments over that, but they need profitability to run, because PlayStation is a large part of Sony. So if
Yeah.
PlayStation starts losing money and not making as much profit as they're doing, it's no longer sustainable. That's a problem.
I think like I feel like Jim Ryan has been a blessing for PlayStation, as a like for the corporate, for the business of PlayStation, and for
Yeah.
Sony corporate. But if you look at it from a like more of a consumer standpoint, I think he's I can see the like why a lot of consumers might feel like, oh, it's like finally some new blood. Whereas I think for the business side, I think he's done some
He's-
really like
But-
some missteps, of course, but mostly done great.
But
he's
as
a
a
fa- he's a fantastic businessman. He should have that. And I mean, they are doing some really odd choices when it comes to what do you say, player. If you look at, it's more like for the payers. I mean,
The shareholders.
well, it is a product that's meant to be profitable. They need to make a profit on the product. It's not a charity.
of course.
And they've been running it so that they've, as much as possible, they can turn a profit on certain games. Some have made losses, like for example, they had to do a modification on Media Molecule Studio. They changed the leadership over there because their last titles were not as profitable as what they were expecting compared to the expenses and all. So
Yeah.
they have titles like that that make losses, but they still try to push in order to continue to gain that experience. But if it wasn't like for lucrative contracts they had, like with Call of Duty and all that, they would have needed to shut down Media Molecule. It was only safe because they've been generating a lot of profit. And Jim Ryan, people didn't like that he was not like the people person like we've seen in other companies. He was not like in podcasts and all that. He's been business focused, but that was his job.
Yeah,
His job never was to entertain the public. It was to make the business decisions that put PlayStation ahead, that allows them to make the good games that will bring in the player base and will create the sales, so make it profitable. So that was 100% his job. He was never into game development. He started PlayStation 30 years ago as an office administrator. Like, he was building the desk and the chairs in the offices when they opened the first offices in Europe. That's how he started, and he's been building his way up in the company, always as basically more of the corporate side.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think,
what he
like,
excelled at.
And like to I think we a couple of weeks ago we discussed this on the podcast that it feels a little bit like Sony is trying to cater to become almost like the Apple of the gaming industry, being like,
Of course.
with like that, with a hardware focus, but also like they building like premium hardware with premium content for it, but also then charging a bit more. And I think that as Sony is a hardware company at the end of the day, I think that's a good decision for them. Although even though I'm not maybe I feel like I'm not maybe less of a target audience of that in these days, but I definitely see the why that has worked. And I mean, if you just look at the PlayStation 5, like the whole design language of that console gives off a lot of Apple vibes.
Mhm.
It's I believe that that's what they are targeting, to become the premium brand of gaming, and that's what scares me. Like with the PSVR 2, like releasing that one and then almost dropping it right away. Like the support, I mean, for it, we don't see any games coming.
Oh, there's plenty of games going to the PSVR too.
Yeah, but it's not. They didn't sell that much, so you won't see any system movers. You won't see that many games that will make you go out and buy. Like for instance, Alex that sold a lot of HTC headsets, etc. Over here, we don't have those. What do you say? Yeah, system movers to make people go out and buy a PS5 and a PSVR 2. And I think that's sad.
The PSVR 2 is actually one of the best best-selling VR headset out there. Like the numbers, I think within like 2 or 3 weeks, they sold 600,000 units,
Yeah,
which far exceeded anything else out there, and they've been having good numbers. It remains a niche market. I think Sony was never expecting to like push 5 million units, but because it is yet still a very niche market, not a lot of VR games are produced out there, no matter the platform. But Sony has been doing pretty well on the VR side of things. It's just compared to the PS5, those numbers are very minimal. But as a VR headset, it's been doing fairly well. The games are selling pretty well, and they're still moving a lot of units, and they have a lot of plans right ahead. Just today, they actually released basically a bunch of announcements for new games that are coming to the PSVR 2.
I think I work in retail, and we've sold a very small amount, and it's almost collecting dust on the shelves now. One reason might be that we pay, I don't know, is it 20% more here, Bjorn?
At least. I think it's
Yeah.
even more than that. It's almost the double compared to what the US price is.
Yeah. How much is it here? 8,000?
Yeah, it's almost. I think it's a little bit more than the PS5 itself.
Yeah. Is it $800 or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
more,
it's
900 almost.
Yeah, and for the games we pay close to $100 now. If you buy them, like the normal prices in the US is $70. We pay close to, is it 900 kroners now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so I mean it's close to $100, and then it's hard to sell something like the PSVR 2.
Yeah, especially when you take into account the fact that you're already paying the same for the console.
Yeah,
and then asking someone then because it's all I mean at that price, like 5 years ago you could get a decent gaming desktop for that price tag.
Yeah.
Whereas I think now it's like obviously those have gone up in price as well, but it's like the price of that is already quite prohibitive to a point where like if I hadn't won mine in a fucking giveaway, I wouldn't have bought one because I felt it was too much money for a console. And the PSVR 2 is obviously even more expensive than that.
Yeah.
Which I think that hinders it a bit. But yeah, again that might be just a local market thing. Might be selling a lot better in other countries.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with PS Portal. I'm not sure about the prices here. Have you seen the prices, Bjorn?
I haven't. Let's see if we can find them.
Yeah, I mean it will be close to, I don't know, $400 or something stupid like that here. $300, $400, and then it's hard to sell stuff that is very niche. So I don't know. Do you have a price there?
No prices yet.
Yeah.
I do know, like Maker was saying that a social platform would help the PSVR 2. I do know this month there's Roblox coming on PS5, and I do believe I saw that it will support the PSVR 2, so that should actually give it a bit of a push.
Yeah, or I don't know. I mean, it might. I like Roblox is big enough to give anything a little push. At the same time, it feels like the target audience for the PSVR 2 compared to Roblox is quite different in general. But of course, there will be a little bit of overlap, and with a game that big, it will of course shift some units no matter what, for sure.
But Sony knew going into the PSVR 2 that it wouldn't be on the same scale as the PS5. Of course, they'll market the PS5 first because it's their big money maker. It's what everyone is buying. But it remains that they still have a foot into the VR market. And as far as I know, over there, of course, if it's double the price, then over here it won't sell too much. But what I've been seeing on social media is there is a player base on the PSVR 2. It's still a growing market. There's still a lot of growth to be done there because even other VR platforms have a limited player base. So
I think VR itself hasn't really found that like that mass market appeal yet. I think the closest thing was probably the first Oculus one that was wireless. I think that was in handheld with no extra devices needed. I think that was maybe the closest to mass market appeal we've seen for VR. Apart from the cardboard ones that everyone got from any from all business events for like 2 years. But like apart from that, I don't think there hasn't been like the killer application yet, because it is it's still a niche product in a sense.
That's the problem for me. I love the PSVR 2. It's a fantastic headset. And they do some real trickery to if you compare it to other headsets, it's actually kind of cheap, but the thing is that they need some system movers, they need some games, and that's what I don't like with this whole situation, that you have to lose money to earn money, right? So we should have seen more like AAA titles, or for the system, but it's not any. The games I would get for it would be Beat Saber. That would be the only one I would get right now. I played a Horizon on it, and that's great, but it's a short demo sort of type game. So I don't know.
I think looking, because I mean I haven't tried the PS4 VR 2 yet, but I do have a PSVR 1, and I played it quite extensively back a couple of years ago. And like out of all the games I played, I think Beat Saber obviously is a great VR game in general for what it is.
Yeah.
Even though it is generally the same thing. I think Superhot VR is the killer app for VR that I played. And Skyrim VR was fun for 2 hours. Like, I love that it exists and you can do the whole thing. I wouldn't, but it's one of those you jump in for a little bit. But Superhot VR, I think I played in one, burned through in just a few days, almost binge played.
It's fantastic.
Intense. We need to get more games like Superhot VR that really pushes, makes use of the VR in a sense that really pushes people to get it while also being substantial. I mean, Superhot VR is an indie game. We need something like Superhot VR, but AAA. I think could be a system mover. But at the same time, I don't think they need to have it as a system mover. It is an accessory for a premium, like a small segment of the premium market. At the end of the day, that is what it is.
Sorry, I just had to say this. Maker Chaos says, I see the PSVR being something they consider cutting. That's my problem. Now Bjorn, we're talking about PSVR, Superhot, etc., being good games to get for your device. But if you don't have those system sellers like Alex, etc., I don't think they will keep on spending money on it. That's my 2 cents.
At the same time, it feels like it's a niche that has cemented itself. I mean, sure, it might just be a small percentage of the gaming market, or even the console market even.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it can sustain smaller indie, cool indie projects for several years to come, probably. So I think we'll keep it. They will keep it around. If anything, because they want to appease their shareholders and show them that they can still make innovative hardware and won't back down on it.
Yeah, the thing with VR is even if you look at PC VR, which has a much bigger catalog of game and a very wide, a lot more gamers on it, there isn't that many seller titles on PC VR as well. You mentioned Half-Life Alyx, but it's a title everyone brings back as, it's the one killer app. they needed to get on VR, but there isn't that many others. So Half-Life Alyx, we're talking about Valve, which they might need they might not have anything in terms of partnership with PlayStation, so they're not interested in bringing the title there. But other than that, like, okay, there's Horizon Call of the Mountain they've developed in house. They got studios that are developing other titles. They got a lot of partnership, but it's mostly minor titles that are coming in. I know there was a dogfight game that was just announced today, like fighter aircrafts. There's multiple games that were just announced for PSVR 2. They have a slow drip of games coming, but it remains that the VR market on whatever platform, it's the same. Now there's rumors that Nintendo might be getting into VR with the Switch 2. Those haven't been substantiated much, but it's still rumors out there. If Nintendo does also go into VR, then we'll definitely see more and more developers get interested into it, because we're going to talk about
and also
a
like
larger
Apple VR kit might also make small moves, but at the end of the day, it is like, I think all of these developers and like VR platform makers, I think they all, like, maybe except for Meta, because Meta is doing their thing, but like I think in general they are looking at it, I think, as a subset of the market. Like, if anyone who buys a PSVR 2 is not just going to use their PlayStation 5 to play VR titles. They will, so it's fine if it only gets one new game a month, because because that person is also going to play like normal games on their PlayStation. And buy that.
The only ones that can make this mainstream and can sell 15 million units is Nintendo.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this years ago, like when this, I think this was like
The
3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago they started talking about Nintendo starting to sourcing chipsets, etc., for the new device. And we talked about, I wrote an article about this, like the docking station having all the upscaling technology and the VR technology, and Nintendo would be the only ones that could release a low spec headset. They could release something that has a crappy resolution and people would still buy it. The good thing would be that it would cost something like $300, $400, and it would be in every freaking home in the world.
With
like a Virtual Boy 2.
Yeah, they've sold 130 million Switches or something like that. They will sell 130 million Switch 2s. If they could get like 5% of those getting one of these headsets for cheap. And I mean, just imagine the IPs they have. Just imagine a Pokemon game where you throw balls like in VR, and you know it's a winner. I mean, all these games they have, you can do like Mario Party, you can do Switch 2 Sports, whatever. All their
Zelda
games
VR.
would be perfect in VR, and you can't say that of Xbox. You can't say that of about PlayStation. I think it's a win. It's a natural win.
And that's the thing. If Nintendo tomorrow releases a VR headset, PlayStation VR 2 sales will actually go up.
Oh yeah, it's a
the unique
competition for the entire.
So
industry.
They'll end up both selling that medium, like Xbox. If Xbox release a VR headset, PSVR 2 sales would go up, because there would be competition. Both would be promoting the medium, the way of gaming, and it would become more popular, and more devs would be interested in producing for it. Right now in the console market, there's PlayStation that's pretty much standing alone in their segment. There's Meta that's similar but not exactly, and other than that, there's PC VR that are in its own world. That's very different. But in terms of home console VR, like in a established platform, because at the moment I don't consider Meta a established platform.
No,
as it's kind of hybrid between console, mobile, and PC. It's its own thing a little bit. But having PlayStation standing on their own for with the PSVR 2 is kind of hurting it. So definitely, if Nintendo decide to join the VR headset market and they push it, it'll sell a lot of unit and it'll actually help PlayStation in the long run. So
I believe that if Xbox would release a headset as well, it wouldn't change that much, because these devices are focused on the hardware. What they talk about is how high resolution the panels are, that they're OLED, they have these sensors, etc., etc. And you know as well as I do that Nintendo will say, this is our headset, it looks like a toy, and it's fun. They will never talk about resolution. They will never talk about specs, really. They might talk about, okay, it's a good resolution, but you never talk about specs apart from some older fans like us talk about specs of the Switch, etc.
Yeah.
But it's a different audience.
Yeah, because when I've been working in retail, the guys that came in and bought a Wii, that was grandmothers, moms, dads, and I think that's the magic about Nintendo. You play games. No, you experience experiences.
Yeah.
See what I mean? They make experiences. They make toys. They don't make games. It's like Lego. And if you look at both Microsoft and PlayStation, they are more like HP or Dell or whatever. You always, or Samsung or you always start talking about what kind of hardware do we have here. People buy it based on the hardware, teraflops, etc., and then they experience that. There might be games and
in
software,
the last
etc.
like 2 or 3 years, I think it feels like Jim Ryan has pushed Sony to be more like Apple, Apple being like, this is our device and its features. Let's not talk about specs. Let's not compare ourselves to others. It's just gonna be, this is us. This is what we do. And yeah, so I mean, to that bring back, do you think PlayStation will change on like in any direction under new leadership, or will they continue on the path that Ryan has set them on?
I hope they go back to being for the gamers and being more about passion and being more about games. And I know that they are focusing on like 12 live service titles in development because they want to have a stable income. If you sell a normal game, you sell it, and then after 3 months, it's in the bargain bin. But with live service title, you can get money all the time. I hope they get more to doing experiences like Nintendo does.
I don't understand the argument about Sony being less about the gamers, though. They've transitioned the way they do their advertising, but they're still pretty much about the games and the gamers.
Yeah,
as far as I can tell.
Yeah, if you look back, like I don't know when it was, like 15 years when they did these really screwed up commercials and stuff, super weird stuff, and they had a lifestyle. They were focused on the lifestyle part of it. One favorite time period was when I worked on the PlayStation 1 games. It was a fantastic time to work in the industry back then, when it was more about you made a good game rather than you make a product where you analyze how much money are we going to get about this. How much will this generate? Okay, let's spend this much money because we know we will get this payback. We had games like Wipeout that used Designers Republic to work on the design for the game. You build lifestyle products. You don't have that today, and I think they lost it. They had it a few years ago, but now they lost that magic that I think they had.
But you look at games like Dreams, for example, that's built around the community, as in everyone is making like experiments in that game. It's a community-based game, basically.
You have passionate spots in the market and in the industry. Like, I haven't played Dreams, but I know what it is. You have stuff like this, but I mean, if you look at Nintendo, most of their games are like that. I mean, people bought Pokemon. They probably sold like 40 million of the what game was it that was so buggy?
Scarlet, Red, and Violet.
Yeah,
Scarlet and
you
Violet.
had
Yeah.
you had so many problems with frame rates, and people don't care. But with PlayStation, Xbox, people are judgmental about the games before they are released. Like, this will be in 30 FPS. I can't play this. And Nintendo fans, they don't care about that.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
it's a
isn't
good
all
game,
games in like, if you get a game that running in 30 on the Switch right now, that's a good, like, that's good.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
look,
also the Switch generally has different kind of games. Like the kind of games that we're talking about, oh, it's just 30 FPS or this one's 60 FPS. The Switch kind of stayed away from that kind of game, and they're talking right now the Switch 2 because it'll have much more performance. It was apparently hands-on at Gamescom over in Cologne in Germany, and some of the titles that are being discussed right now for it have slipped out, and it's more in line with what we're seeing with the PS5 and the Xbox Series. Because now they're pushing more performance behind the Switch that they can actually afford to run that kind of game. While prior, any games like that we're trying to push didn't have the performance, so they were skipping the Switch entirely. But the Switch had a broad amount of game that they were bringing to it that were tailored for it because there is the player base behind it to justify it, and people are paying the premium price. Like earlier, you were saying that Sony is doing a like premium price for games, and Nintendo all the same. Their hardware is expensive, the games are expensive. You're paying if you're playing anything Nintendo. Subscription isn't really a thing they're doing that much. Like they did launch Nintendo Live, but it's not. They're not leaning heavily onto it. It's still day one payers for the games that they're buying. Like Tears of the Kingdom came out, it sold a lot of copies, and it's at a premium price. So both companies, Sony and Nintendo, are sticking by that model mostly, and they're being pretty successful with that because the player base don't mind playing if they have the quality behind it. But Nintendo isn't pushing really on the specs because they did something different. A console you can carry around, either dock it on your TV or just carry it with you, while still giving some performance. But they tailored the catalog of games to it. Now, Sony, the reason why a lot of games people are looking at, is it 30 FPS? Is it 60 FPS? Is like it's because the type of game that they have, it does matter. Like if you're playing like Spider-Man 2 that's coming out in a few days now, they already established, okay, the game will be available in 4K with, you'll have the option of 30, 60 FPS. And
but sorry if I interrupt. The thing with Spider-Man is that people are talking about how good it will be performance-wise. It's so much focus about what it will look like, how it will perform in frame rates, etc. You don't see that with the Nintendo.
No, because the discussion isn't there with the Nintendo.
Yeah, because
that is an intentional choice by Nintendo in their marketing. Whereas like, and I feel I mean, to Sony's credit, they're moving away from that, from that jargon in their presentations and things. But it is still like they still have to struggle against like 2 decades or at least 1 decade of that sort of mentality.
That's because they've been doing that since the early 90s or the 90s.
Yeah.
Xbox and PlayStation have always been talking about we are the better hardware. And the thing is, it comes from way back because Nintendo started with toys. Both Microsoft and Sony started with tech gear. So they come from a traditional business where you had to have the best music player, the best operating system, etc., and you win with features. What Nintendo always won with was the experience.
Nintendo also went with specs. If you go back to the GameCube, though,
that's the only
GameCube
one.
was heavily leaning into the spec. Like it was I think it was 120 FPS console for a lot of games.
they
Like, I
only
mean, not counting the Wii U, I think the GameCube was probably one of the like. I mean, looking at least in hindsight, I think it was deemed a failure for them.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
If-
it sold fine, but it didn't. I think it underperformed compared to what they were hoping.
Main reason behind that was the PS2 that came with a DVD player, and that was a big selling point for the PS2 back then.
Yeah,
This is
Exactly.
something Ove Bergsten told me. He's the Nordic Nintendo boss. Bjorn knows about him, and
yeah,
he
he's a big deal.
yeah, you saw the interview when he said, if you look at it, every second Nintendo device was a failure.
Yeah.
If you don't look at the handhelds, all of them has been a hit. But the NES was a success. The SNES compared to the NES was not a success. If you compare it, this is what he said based on sales, etc. Then we had the no, what did he say? Do you remember, Bjorn?
There was the Nintendo 64 afterward.
Yeah, the Nintendo 64 was crap.
No, the 64 was a hit.
And 64
but
did sell a lot.
But I think the 64 was a hit, but the GameCube was a fail, and then the
Wii was a hit.
The Wii U was a fail.
Yeah, they have a tendency
sorry,
of doing.
You gotta fail. It's in the
Yeah.
cards.
They have a tendency to make a platform, then do a follow up to that platform that's based on super performance, like NES, Super NES. Super NES is more powerful
Yeah.
NES. Nintendo 64 and the GameCube was bringing the Nintendo 64 to a lot more performance. And they changed it to this because they were trying to go against Sony that got Square Enix for Squaresoft back then. One publisher that was heavily leaning on Nintendo before because the cartridges were too expensive. So they decided to go to the disc to try to compete with the production price that PlayStation was bringing. But yeah, GameCube didn't sell as well as the Nintendo 64. Then they went into the Wii, going back to basic of a new revolutionary console. And the Switch was a success. The Wii U, not the Switch, but the Wii. I mean, and the Wii U was a more performance-heavy Wii, and it did terrible. So out of this, the Switch was a revolution. Will the Switch 2 be a failure?
Probably,
Because
yeah.
it'll basically
In
be a Switch
comparison,
with
at
better
least.
performance.
I
we know of.
think that Switch has been my preferred console for a long time. I'm a Switch collector, and most of my friends, I know collectors that has close to 2,000 physical games. It's crazy, and most of my collector friends has at least 2 Switch units, Switch devices. These guys and girls would definitely buy the new one, but I'm not sure that everyone will update to the new device. It
I'll
will
drag my feet on it, but I'll have to at some point.
Yeah, we all
Due
do,
to my
but
kids.
it will be themselves. They said that they are nervous about how to do something new again, and this will apparently be like PS4 hardware-wise. So you will be able to play Call of Duty games, etc., etc. But I think that Super Mario Wonder and those kind of games will be perfectly fine on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
The Switch one. So I don't think it will be. This is my guess. I don't think it will be that big of a success as the Switch, and that's what history has been telling us as well. That every second unit has sold less. So I think the next one, maybe in 2032 or something, will be radically different for it to sell. What do you think?
I think it's a fair assessment. I am intrigued by the Switch 2. I don't currently have a Switch, and I've been holding off to see what's going to happen, like if they get a more performing system.
Yeah.
And apparently the Switch will be backwards compatible. The Switch 2, I mean. So that is definitely interesting. If you don't own a Switch, then the Switch 2 will be an interesting option. But for anyone with a Switch, it'll be like the Nintendo DS and the 3DS. Like 3DS was fun, but there was not that many games that benefited from it. Like, yeah, it had a lot more performance, but the actual games that made it worth it, there was not the new 3DS. I mean, it wasn't that much of a jump ahead. So yeah, I think it's a fair assessment that the new Switch, whenever it comes out, uh, it'll just be like an extra, and it's very likely that 2 3 years after the new Switch comes out, that they'll still be making basic Switch games because that's where
Yeah,
the
yeah.
money will be at.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think they will still sell the OG for cheaper for a few years. So maybe it'll go down to $250 or whatever. So I don't think they will just take it off the shelves. But I mean, for you, it's a perfect time to get the Switch 2. I mean, you have probably like 4,000 physical games.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is. And I mean the obviously the power disparity between the Switch 1 and Switch 2 and even like future Switch and like that compared to other platforms could be a bit like solved in a sense by cloud. So Ubisoft CEO was on the record this week saying that streaming will change gaming just as Netflix has for TV and film. And that he believes that in the next 5 to 10 years, many titles will be streamed and produced in the cloud. What do you think? Is he right?
Absolutely. I think there will always be people that want to play native, but then you have so many consumers that don't want to spend $800 on a system or 700 or whatever. And also, I believe that thinner clients will be like the Logitech. What's the name? Logitech G.
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
was somewhat of a crappy system, but I believe that for like the Lenovo Go or the Ally to be able to play games in 4K handheld, that's fantastic. So I think definitely when the technology is here, if you have a good broadband.
Yeah, right now we're looking at a bit of a debate in terms of like we see the new iPhone 15 Pro coming out with a like hardware based ray tracing part of the phone, and they're showing it like okay, connected to monitor, it's playing 4K at 30 FPS for like Resident Evil and all, which is super impressive. But look at the price of the phone; it's pretty freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an iPhone. People change iPhones regularly, but to consider it a gaming console, like a gaming platform, it's a nice compliment because those games, as far as I've seen, you'll be buying it. It's a Apple game, not a iPhone game. They just
Yeah.
happen to make the iPhone able to play those
Yeah.
games. So if you have a MacBook Pro with a M2 Pro inside of it, that
I mean,
game you'll be able
essentially,
to.
aren't Apple trying to like they? I mean, they have their own chips now, and then now they're running everything. Everything is using those chips now.
Yeah, so it is interesting, but it remains very pricey. If you want an iPhone, it's a very pricey phone. If you go with the Pro,
Yeah, I mean, and like that Apple logo is a big chunk of that price. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
and the laptops, the MacBook Pro, and all that, it's very pricey hardware. As for streaming, a lot of people are still resisting streaming, are still saying it won't work. But the thing is,
We know it.
high-speed internet is now more and more available. They got satellites right now with Starlink that you can get high-speed internet pretty much anywhere. You just hook up the antenna, and the more it goes, the smaller the antenna will be, and the more affordable they'll be. So the more technology is evolving, it's not just evolving as improving, but the availability of it is improving.
Yeah.
I know like a lot of regions in the United States right now have problem getting high-speed internet in their homes, but through wireless technology, it's now getting more and more available and affordable. And streaming, like back when it was a debate between Netflix and DVDs, everyone's saying, "Oh no, I'm sticking with DVD. It's better performance." Well, guess what? Eventually released 4K streaming, 1080p streaming through Netflix, while DVDs were still stuck at 720p. And then
Yeah.
eventually Netflix scaled up to 4K, while we were still getting the Blu-ray readers out. And it's like it's always been a push pull. Oh, we get better quality with hardware. And it's like for now,
Yeah, I mean,
software you got the codec that you
here's a just for reference, like these are the median internet speeds in Sweden
Yeah.
on mobile and on broadband. Like the average, like basically the average speed for Sweden is 100 megabits down. You can ease, like, I think from my personal experiences, 30 is enough for cloud gaming.
Yeah.
And like Sweden is only ranked 33rd. So I mean, I think like, and I mean, looking at like the coverage of the country, I think something like 99.5% of the population have access to either high-speed mobile or high-speed fixed broadband.
I'm gonna go into the next room and see how fast my mobile internet is.
Yeah.
1 second.
But for cloud gaming, you're talking about 30 megabyte per second, but that's using like VP9 hardware, like encoding and all that.
No,
with
not even that. That was
with
using,
AV1.
like not and like even I think even using what is it?
H.264?
Yeah, H.264. Even with that, I got good experiences on like 30
But
megabits.
we're getting on to now, like we got hardware that has AV1 encoding and other new codec that are coming out. PlayStation right now are working to have it working really well at 15 megabyte per second, and the minimum they ask, like to have a lower bit rate, is like 10 megabyte per second to have a good experience with cloud gaming and while streaming. So if you stream from your PS5, but also their cloud gaming portion of it, like if you're streaming to it. And there's been some like there's a beta right now for the PS5 streaming, so that at the moment it's still on the PS5. It's not on your phone or anything like that, because they're doing a slow rollout and testing. But for their cloud gaming that is slowly rolling out to the PS5, that requires 15 megabyte per second. And what they're saying is the 4K streaming, holy wow.
Yeah. I mean, that checks out with my experiences of mobile broadband in Sweden.
That is crazy speed. But yeah, the captures that were done for the PS5 streaming beta is they pretty much can't tell the difference between the streaming and the native on the PS5. It's pretty much picture perfect. Like one guy going back through his footage that he got of Fortnite was able to see like a few pixelation in some spot where it was moving really fast, but it was like 2 or 3 instances very fast, like a fraction of a second.
I was playing earlier this week. I played like a short session of the Crew Motorsport on GeForce Now on my PC, and like because I mean this PC can't run it at all, and I mean that was like about as like just as flawless or maybe even better looking than it is on my PS5 running locally.
Yeah, and you have the advantage of what people are not thinking about is doing cloud gaming. You have the availability of data center grade hardware that's backing it. The cooling is better. The hardware, basically, you have unlimited power to it, like power grid. You don't have to worry about your hardware overheating as much. So GFN shows it that the specs they say that the hardware has often beats the equivalent of a home PC, because it's better maintained in a data center. It's like the whole thing runs really well. And Sony is working on something similar with the AMD Epic APUs that they have for their data center that they're testing out. And what's been coming out is it's pretty clear, crystal clear quality. So it's good performance. And over time, there'll be cloud native games that will be done. That should be pretty interesting.
I think, Jade Raymond, I mean, she started working on that on Stadia, so who knows?
Yeah, but, they have one development they haven't announced yet that will be cloud native. I know Fair Games is more of a project they did for that runs locally. It's not their cloud native game, but they have another one that's in development that, like the game file size 2 years ago when she was talking about it was already over 1 terabyte, and they were not done developing, and they still haven't showed that game yet.
But to move on to, because we still have a lot of juicy stuff that we need that I want to touch up on today. But Matthias, you being the handheld expert on the panel today, what do you what's your feelings on the Lenovo? I mean, you have the Steam Deck, you have a Switch, you have an Ally.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. This is my take on the whole scene, like a year ago or so, that we would see more when the Steam Deck succeeded. We knew more manufacturers would get into the market, and then the Ally came out, and we instantly knew that there would be higher performance devices, because customers showed that they could pay for devices like this. So we're still waiting for those devices that would cost like $3,000 that have mobile graphics cards like 4090, etc. That one, the Lenovo Go, is basically the same hardware as the Ally. Yeah, it has the same chipset, the C1 Extreme from AMD. The difference is like cosmetic differences. You have the RAM is a bit faster. It's
and a slightly higher resolution screen, I think, as well, right?
Yeah, the screen is 8-inch. It's got 144 hertz. But if I remember correctly, it's locked to 60 or 144 hertz. So you don't have any variable refresh rate that you have on the Asus ROG Ally. So you can choose either 144 or 60. And then you have the Joy-Con style controllers. One of them, the right one, also acts as a mouse. You can put it in a sort of like docking puck. And you can use this puck as a mouse because it's got a sensor in the bottom there. What else? You only have, I think you only have gyro in the actual device. You don't have gyro in the controllers. So what he does there when he sits like this, that's actually not working. It looks like he's moving them, but the gyro is in the device.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, so, but like from the specs and like the footage we've seen of it so far, would you, like, if you were to get it and like something like this or an Ally today, would you still go Ally since you, or would you be, or would it be more of a coin toss between them?
This will be very. People will think it's a tasty device because it's bigger. It's got a bigger screen. If I would get this, it would be based on the screen. The controllers, I think they're a bit gimmicky. And since you don't have any gyros in the controllers, I don't see why you should take them off. I think that's kind of silly, actually.
Yeah, I can see the appeal if maybe you want to do like a 2-player, like on the Switch. But you can't really do that with that though.
No, you can't.
No, you don't have the buttons on the left one.
Yeah, you're right.
No.
Huh. Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, it feels very much like a gimmick, but at the same time, like, I mean, if one is out of stock, you will be very happy with the other. I think.
Yeah. It's basically the same price.
Yeah.
So and this will also be available, I think, in 1 terabyte SSD.
I feel like the advantage this would have, and it won't be taken advantage of, I'm pretty sure, is that you have swappable controllers. Like if one of them either has a problem or you want a different configuration, like you want Hal effect thumbsticks, or you want like PlayStation buttons on it or anything, that you would be able to do a swap and have a different version of them.
Yeah.
Or like there's multiple things like that could be done.
But
I think if it's not standardized, like if it's not a standard connection that they talk with different manufacturers, like, okay, we're going to do it like that so that we can release accessories and it'll be compatible with all of them, which I doubt Lenovo did, then it's going to be useless. It's going to be a useless feature.
It's a fantastic idea if you want to sell like custom controllers, and if they would speak to other manufacturers like control manufacturers, it would be fantastic. I think it's a fantastic um, idea to do something like this, but at the moment I don't see why you should do it. It's also kind of clunky, this device. It's thicker.
Yeah.
I don't think your kids can play with it. It will be too big.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
But I mean, this is the second device running the AMD Z1 Extreme. Do you guys think we'll see Nvidia come up with a competing chip, or will they stay away from this part of the market?
they will definitely. They've been focusing more on the AI chips now, like the $30,000 cards.
Yeah.
So I think they are seeing that selling 4090s is not the easiest task. It's easier to sell like 10,000 of those expensive cards to Google, etc. But I definitely think that if this market takes off, which it is, they have
Yeah, it really
to they have to answer to AMD, because AMD is right now fantastic at this. I have one of these. I have to show you guys. This is interesting. This is the XG Mobile. So this is like a docking station that I got to borrow from Asus. This is the 3080 Mobile. So this is an NVIDIA card. This is the 2021 model. The 2022 model is an AMD graphics card. And then the 23 model is the 4090, I think. So
they're very expensive, but they are very cool.
They are. This is probably, I think, remember, this is a 2-year-old model, and I think this is something like $1,100. It's silly.
Yeah.
It's
one of those, like, I mean, as someone who would love to have a new PC in some aspect, mainly for content creation, and like I'm feeling like I need to get an NVIDIA one because I want to have access to the NVIDIA broadcast for like purely content creation aspects. But
and
at the same time,
you want to use AI as well.
Yeah, I want to use, like, mainly, to be honest, the only thing I want that for is the eye tracking, because I suck at looking into the camera, and I love, like, I like writing out my scripts and reading my scripts, and I can't do that while looking at the camera. I'm so bad at that. So if I could just look at my script and the AI will shift it so I'm looking to the camera, then that would be great. But but I don't have the hardware to do that, and it's only an NVIDIA. So if there was a, like, if that wasn't an aspect of it, then I would get a new PC. I would actually get an Ally or a Legion, just because I like to have the handheld, but then just dock it whenever you want to need a PC for anything. Whereas, but obviously, since I mean, one, I'm not getting a new PC anytime soon, but also, like, I would really like the eye tracking. It's such a silly small thing that to choose a video over AMD for, but that's where I'm at the moment. So I'm hoping we'll see a handheld like this with using a, like, 30, 48, 49, or 50, 60 or something.
We can do a bet. We can say we can make a guess to see when the first handheld with an NVIDIA chip, like a high spec device, will come. What do you think? Within a year?
I think it will be until late 2025, based on this other set of news that I have open.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if because, I mean, it feels like one of those, like, NVIDIA's probably thought about it, but they haven't really given that much attention. And then the Steam Deck comes out and they're like, yeah, maybe we should take a look at that. And then the AMD ones come out now, and they're like, oh, we should really invest in that, and it will take them a few years to get something out. So wouldn't surprise me if, like, the next Steam Deck runs on a like next generation, like, maybe what would that be, like an RTX 6060 or something. yeah, so Steam Deck follow likely not coming until late 2025 or later.
Given the success of Steam Deck, I find it weird that they're not making a new iteration sooner, especially considering like the Rogue Ally and all. But on the other hand, do they really need another Steam Deck? Because they opened the door to a market of a handheld platform like that. It's like the Lenovo handheld and Rogue Ally, and there's more coming.
Yeah, I mean,
Steam making a huge profit margin on the hardware itself. They're almost, I wouldn't be surprised to hear they're selling the Steam Deck at a loss, or at least were at the beginning, because they don't really care. It's like console, like whatever. It's
a
getting
shop
the people
front.
in the door
for
for
and
buying
honestly,
the game.
for Valve, for like the Ally and the Legion, they are both good for Valve. Even though they're competing with the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
they will generate a lot of revenue for Steam, for people buying games. So.
Like, it's like this. The Steam Deck, they lose money probably because if it's broken, they will just exchange it, yada yada yada.
Yeah, they don't care.
They've given it one every single minute during the Game Awards last year.
Yeah, so I mean, they probably lose money, or they don't earn that much money. But we have to remember that whenever you get a Steam Deck, someone gets a Steam Deck, they're in the ecosystem. They will buy 30 games. They will buy games. They will buy games. They will buy games. That's why we don't see a. I mean, if they wanted us to have Game Pass on it, they could solve it in a second.
Yeah,
but we don't see that. They are open with it. Yeah, we're going to work on that. You can install Windows, etc., etc. But it's tricky, it's difficult, it's not optimal. So they are happy if people stay with Linux and play Steam, right?
Yeah.
The difference with Ally and Legion is that they sell their devices and that's it. They won't earn a cent on it afterwards. So they have to find out cheaper, like introduce these systems with a bang, surprise people that they can cost under $1,000, introduce them to the market, and then get up to speed with making this like a legit segment that people want to buy into. So I see Steam Deck and Valve as Nintendo here, and I see Lenovo and all the hardware manufacturers, Lenovo, Asus, all the others. They have to release one every year, just like with the mobile phones, etc. Otherwise, they won't earn any money. So we will see a new Ally 2 next year. We will see a new Lenovo 2 next year.
Yeah.
And
that's my take on it.
It's similar to like we're seeing like Logitech has the G Cloud that's available for what, $399, the base price in the US. Sony is about to drop the PlayStation Portal in November, and the price is $199. Essentially, they're very similar devices, except that Sony is limiting it to their ecosystem. And at first, it will be for remote play, although it's extremely likely that they plan on unlocking cloud gaming on it in the future. It's just they can't announce it because their cloud gaming platform isn't rolled out yet. But essentially, it's extremely similar hardware. The screen's 1080p 60 LCD. And it's
wouldn't
looking
surprise
great.
me also. Like I think, didn't we see in an early leak that it was also running Android on the back end?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The development platform for it is Android, but they're limiting the functionalities on it because it's a PlayStation device.
But someone's gonna unlock that for sure.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get jailbroken as hell. Like there'll be some stuff you can do with it.
I think that like that could also mean some interesting things for like the support for the haptics of the DualSense in in Android in general. Could mean very interesting things for that, like making cloud PlayStation cloud gaming be even more appealing. Because obviously, if you play like PlayStation Now through your phone, you don't or on your PC, you don't really get the haptics and the like PS5 features. But you could in the future then with Portal probably, and not even just the Portal, like on any phone. or tablet. And it wouldn't surprise me if also if like someone jailbreaks it and now you can install, any Android app on it, and you can on top of it as well, and then you can use it for Netflix and stuff. And at that point, it makes a lot more sense because to me currently it's a one device set out to do one thing, and I generally like a device set out to do one thing is something that for me means I'm way less likely to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
But
it's multi-purpose, then I'm more likely to spend the money on it.
But yeah, I see Maker in the chat like going out after the portal and saying, "Oh, the G Cloud is much more appealing." Not to me at all. Not at all. The portal is half the price of the G Cloud. The portal itself doesn't need to be profitable. Sony is because the hardware in it it's gonna be good quality. It's they got their connection with it, PlayStation Link that they optimize so that it has no latency to the console. It's they don't need to turn a profit on it because it's just an accessory. They don't need to make Portal games. It's just PS5 games that you're logging into your Portal and you're playing your console. But, hello.
Hello, Kirk. Welcome.
Hi, I got off work late. What's going on?
Get out
I'm
of
also white as a sheet on my camera for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just that pale, but yeah.
here. Well, you're talking to two Swedes. We're used to pale.
Yeah.
But
Well, you
no
guys have an
matter how many.
excuse.
Oh,
I don't. I live in southern United States. You guys live in the north, so it's not your fault. I just need to go outside.
Yeah, there's no games outside, or it could be if you have a handle.
Yeah. Pokemon Go still around.
Yeah, I play it way more than I want to because my kids play it. It's not that good. It's honestly so bad. There's so much issues with Pokemon
It
Go.
was good,
I mean,
5-6 years ago, and then it's just been the same.
honestly, it
thing.
wasn't. Yeah, it has improved.
It was
since.
innovative.
It's just,
It was
it
innovative.
was a
It has
nice
improved
novelty.
since. Yeah,
It was a nice novelty.
Yeah, definitely, and it has improved since. It's just like the amount of money that game earns and the amount of new the half-assed implementation of every single feature, and the amount of bugs in that game is just staggering.
It's better. They put
Um,
more work into it than Scarlet and Violet. So
Yeah.
barely. That's not to say much though. But speaking of putting not a lot of work into things, the Unity thing
Oh,
from last
God.
week, the whole we're gonna charge devs per install.
It's the same guy at the head right now that ruined EA. That
Yes.
Yeah,
made
loot
the most hated
boxes.
company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy who introduced loot boxes to EA. Yep, the same guy, same CEO. Failing
Yeah.
upwards, it seems.
Let-
But yeah,
let-
it seems they have now said that they are going to. They're backtracking, and not fully backtracking yet, so, to mind you, but they are backtracking for a bit further now.
Yeah.
So at this rate, I think give it another 2 weeks, and then there will be, no changes at all. Sorry, but we are gonna add some revenue share thing down the line when we thought about it more. It's my guess. I think it was Mike Bithell who said it. Said best. Basically, like if they, they were stating that they were able to track installs in a non-intrusive way that was also accurate, and they could not, but they wouldn't tell anyone how. And I think
Yeah.
he said that if they truly have done that, they will drop every single thing regarding to gaming because they now built the best. Built the best
Tracking system.
anti-piracy system ever,
Yeah.
and like
They-
they will earn billions just doing that now. So, but clearly they haven't. So they have no idea what they're doing.
They did an oopsie.
Big fat oopsie.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's pretty much all we need to say on that at the moment.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of layoffs, by the way, in the gaming news today.
Yeah, I
saw
think I have two
Epic,
big groups
Ubisoft,
of
Sega,
and Sega as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sega as well.
'cause
let's get into that now. Yeah, we can
they're
begin
shutting
with
down
Sega.
Hyenas, which was one of like
Oh
5
yeah,
extraction bank heist games that was
Yeah.
set to come out.
So they canceled Creative Assembly's Hyenas amid structural reforms, and they have confirmed that job losses may occur and a redundancy consultation process has begun. It's over at Sega.
Which by the way, can we just
Creative Assembly.
get rid of abstract one-word names that don't mean anything or provide any context to what the game is for like these live service games? Can we do away with that? Hyenas,
it's too
Fair
it's too,
Games, Concord. Like what do these titles mean? Like what like
It's,
they
at
don't
this
tell me
point, it's
anything
just
about
so
the game.
Fortnite was a weird name, but it still was a success. They need a name for the game.
Yeah.
Slipstream, laser hat.
Even those provide more context into what you're actually playing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Hyenas,
Moist.
Concord,
Sega wasn't the only one.
Lawbreakers.
As we mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, Epic. Epic is laying off
800.
more than 800 people.
Paragon.
Oh.
16% of staff. They're selling Bandcamp. They're spinning off the company Super Awesome. I think that's being picked up by, was it Sola? I think. The payment provider and matchmaking software.
Yeah.
But the Epic is cutting 800 people. One of the things they're apparently cutting, according to Jason Schreier, also around 900 people apparently. Even no, I think it was this guy. Yeah, reportedly the entire team behind Fall Guys, Mediatonic, is being laid off.
Not the entire
shutting-
team.
okay, not
A
the
big
entire
part
team.
of the team, but
Big part
not
of
the
it, yeah.
entire.
So
They're,
to a
they're
point,
keeping Oliver, the great, what's his name, Oliver 25, the community guy.
yeah, hopefully.
This is what
to a
Epic
point where
does,
someone did
like-
this in their office. They rearranged the letters in their Mediatonic
Wow.
logo to say destination.
Decimation.
And someone was like, "I don't know who did this, but thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what Epic does. I mean, they did the same thing with Paragon 5 or 6 years ago, where they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna close this up so that we can funnel the money into Fortnite because we didn't have a profitable quarter.
Yeah.
And that's the only game that matters to us." So it's a shame that Paragon at least was like internally came from Epic, but Fall Guys they went and bought. You can make the argument that they sort of put it back on the map. Like Fall Guys sort of had its
they did.
time in the sun, and then like came and went. But
Yeah, and they also did something quite clever with the latest season for Fall Guys. Added a map creation tool where people can create their own maps, and they
Yeah.
basically have I think it's just at least semi-automated solution where they will create playlists of maps that are fan created. Like grab some random ones of the most popular ones from this month, and then put that into a playlist so people can play them. So essentially making new content for them automated.
yeah,
Someone said at a pitch meeting, like, guys, let's make ourselves obsolete.
Jesus.
Yeah, I've honestly, most of my time spent at work is being slowly making myself more obsolete. Even though whenever I do, it just creates more reasons. Like, oh, maybe we can spend a lot of hours doing this thing instead. So I'm just making new work for myself. But still, I definitely feel the.
But I think it was Paul Tassi, writer for Forbes on Twitter, who said that he thinks that this is sort of like the beginning of the end for the live service model, and that the bubble is bursting in terms of just the absolute oversaturation.
I'm not even sad about it.
It's.
I mean, I am, because there's a lot of economies that a lot of people have invested in. Like, I mean, so Avengers and Multiverses are two economies that I spent at least $50 in on top of whatever the initial buy-in was. So there's a lot of people who, have come to be used to the fact that, like, oh, Apex exists, Fortnite exists, I can put a little bit of money into that economy. That's been sort of normalized now. I mean, if you think about it, 5 years ago it was like audacious for Destiny to require you to pay $20 to play the new and relevant content every season, or it was audacious for Battlefront to have any sort of monetization in their game. Now it's like commonplace for, and those were paid games, so those might be bad examples, but now it's very commonplace for paid or unpaid games for people to invest. Diablo 4, for example, like that's just them pushing the envelope even more of like, oh, you're used to buying a $10 cosmetic, now let's try and sell you a $30 cosmetic. It shows that the goalpost has kind of moved.
But then now we also have
saturation.
games like Baldur's Gate moving in the completely different direction.
Yeah,
Sure.
didn't Diablo like completely die
Yeah.
Oh,
it
Diablo
wasn't-
4 is not.
4,
doing
no,
well
Diablo
right
4 is
now.
doing okay, man.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's doing just fine.
I watched a 1-hour documentary about the rise and fall of Diablo.
Sounds like a guy that really, really wanted to do a video essay.
I don't know. It
Hang on. Diablo 4.
I
It definitely occupied the zeitgeist for about 2 weeks. Like for about
Yeah.
2 weeks,
Oh, yeah.
it was the best game that had come out of the year that wasn't exclusive to Nintendo. And then it sort
Yeah.
of just fell off the map in terms of zeitgeist. In terms
Yeah.
of like critical and commercial success, that game is doing just fine. That's
Oh,
like
they
the
made
highest.
a lot of revenue.
That's like the highest grossing Blizzard game ever.
Oh, right,
Like
hang on.
they're
Oh,
doing
yeah,
just fine.
I just realized there is no concurrent. It's like it's not on Steam, so I can't check the concurrent players on Steam.
Yeah,
But,
they had like 462 players. He
No,
showed
that
in
was
the
viewers
video
on
that-
viewers on Twitch, I think.
Yeah, viewers on Twitch. You saw the video?
I just saw they had like a tweet about it, I think.
Yeah. The thing was that I haven't played it that much. I played it for like 3-4 hours, but I'm not sure if this is correct, but you had to start over when the new season began, right?
Yes,
And that
which
pissed
apparently
people
has
off.
always
First
been a
season.
mechanic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Diablo
yeah.
3 was the same for that. But
Yeah.
you don't have to start over. It's as a season comes out, if you want to do the seasonal content, you have to create a new player for that season.
Which oh man,
Oh, yeah.
you know, crazy to want to do the new content, right?
But it's as you do it, it unlocks cosmetic and multiple stuff that you
Right.
own on your account across all your characters. So
Oh,
that is fairly regular. I wasn't surprised when they announced that because it was already like that before.
Yeah,
But there was a backlash when they did a major update to Diablo 4 to the pace of how your character grows and all that. And people were not a fan of it. And they did some correction, but it took a while. And like a lot of people in the player base have just been disappointed and not gone back to it. But there's still a very active player base on Diablo 4.
yeah,
Uh,
and to your point, Ally, like I think that just shows like even a game that takes as much of the public and mainstream conscious as that has trouble with retention after a finite amount of time, 2-3 weeks to a month. So basically, Bjorn, you said that you're not sad about it. I just wanted to say I am sad about it because of these layoffs and because a lot of the time these employees and these devs, look at Redfall. They don't necessarily get to decide what they are going to spend the next 3 to 4 or more years of their life on in terms of the project that they're working on. And a lot of these sort of executive level decisions that have been made in the last several years are, we're going to go the live service route because we see that's where the money is. And so it's very unfortunate to sort of see that the shelf life for that is sort of running out quicker than the executive business types maybe had anticipated.
Yeah, I mean to me,
and
it's
so
more
we've got all
like, I
these
think-
projects that everybody's been working on that are maybe A, never going to see the light of day, or B, are not going to be commercially successful because of the fatigue. I mean, look at Suicide Squad. Those are the people that made Arkham Knight and Arkham City. Fantastic games. It's the same
Suicide
devs.
Squad should not have been a
It's-
service game.
It's the same people. Like, it's the
Yeah.
same great developers. And that game is going to be an absolute flop. Nobody's going to like it. A lot of people are probably going to get laid off from that
The
studio.
reason I'm not even
Yeah.
not even sad about the idea, like the wave of, or the age of the live service games going away is mainly because like I don't really like, they don't let that, like any live service game. I don't think I can find a single one that really appeals to me.
No.
As like I prefer spending my time on games that are not live services. For the most part, every now and then, I mean, I'll have fun for like a week with one, and then I'll just move on. So live service to me is more like, oh, I'll play that, I'll try it, and then I'll move on. It's basically what it needs to be.
The sad thing with this is that it's like the Hollywood, what do you say, the movie industry repeating itself, the music industry. Like what we see, if we look at the 80s and the 90s, we had some fantastic movies like Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, Die Hard, etc., right? And the same thing with the music industry. I've been in the music industry since '87. I've seen it change. Like in the '70s, Kiss or Dio or Accept or whomever could write uh, songs and make an album with music that they loved. Today, you have like 7 to 9 songwriters on one track because everything is a product. And you have investors that invests in projects and they have to get their money back. We start to see like how do you say, Bjorn, missnöje?
Yeah, discontent.
Yeah, we start to see the discontent in the movie industry, like with Marvel and Star Wars. Disney might see that releasing 8 new Star Wars series every year is not the right way to go. And this is happening in the games industry as well. But now we're starting to see companies like Ubisoft, I don't know who else, but they lay off. Lay off because they don't get the money right away back, and it's not a good investment.
Yeah.
And should we see gaming, the industry that we love, the industry that I've been part of for 30 years, to see it as products and investments, that's not nothing I want to see. That's why
I
mean,
think it
they
always.
are.
I think it always has been that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's
No.
like they've always been that, but they haven't. But like that hasn't been the focus in. Like the focus has been, if I make a great game that people love, I will earn money.
In fact, I would say, I would say that the gaming has been on the opposite trajectory, and they're just intersecting now. Like it would look like an X on a graph. So what you're talking about is like with cinema and music, those originated as an art form and a form of expression by the creator, whether it's the director, the visionary, the artist. And so those have slowly sort of had this downturn on the graph, a downward diagonal line that goes more and more towards less of expression and more towards that being a product or that commercialization. I would argue that video games started out as a product. It started out as, here's the Atari that you can give, that your family can have. You can buy it for your kids. It's got Gallagher or whatever on it. It's got Pac-Man, and then like more and more over time, we start escalating, going up and up and up until we get to Cory Barlog's God of War and Neil Druckmann's The Last of Us.
But no,
I don't agree.
I disagree. Yeah, same.
I
think like I think games games were an art form already back then. I mean, if you look at the early demo scenes, like DICE started out as a couple of techie guys hanging out at like LAN parties, building cool stuff.
Yeah,
and
silent.
If you look at Castlevania, a bunch of older games that were really artistic.
I think DICE is a perfect example of this, because I mean, they started out building like just doing cool tech and great art for fun. And then
you have all the Swedish companies like Starbreeze.
All of them.
Starbreeze. Yeah, Starbreeze are the guys that made the Fast Tracker for the Amiga, I think.
They're a little bit in hot water right now.
Yeah, they are, but
I mean,
it's not their first time.
Yeah, I know Gustav and a few guys from the old Starbreeze. I mean, most of the Swedish game scene originated in the demo scene, and it was all about passion, making a pinball game because you wanted to play pinball for free. And I mean, that's
but I guess what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, that's ultimately utilitarian in a way.
But
like I'm saying that, like, at the end of the day, games were toys. Like, you were making the best toy, you were making the best experience. What I'm talking about is like, as
it's now
art,
a culture.
Art is like an expression, an experience. You look at a painting, you watch a film. There's a vision behind it. They're conveying some sort of emotive message through film and through music and expression of humanity. And that's just, we just didn't have the technology to do. Basically, games in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s were really good toys. Like, they're really well made toys for adults and children. And they've sort of escalated to that point now to where
I think the biggest problem
we're seeing that they can be an art form, And I think that makes it such that you notice that discrepancy a lot more. Like when Red Dead Redemption 2...
I think the biggest reason we're seeing a lot of games, we have been seeing a lot of games turning into live services, because I mean, live services is a way for the company to earn more money, and like making games has like objectively become a much more expensive thing.
Yeah,
like the cost of developing games today,
or it's not, and they
20 years
aren't
ago.
good, and it's obvious. You know, like then it's obvious that it's just a cash grab, and people don't migrate to it.
The issue with live service games is when you do that, you're keeping a pretty substantial development team behind the game, which is expensive. So you need your live service game.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Like,
decent,
it's something that can bring in revenue, but it's also going to cost you a lot more to keep running.
But you have a finite amount of people that will play games and invest in them. So the concept of a live service game is great when you have a great game that's bringing in a player. Like we're seeing Roblox coming out to more platform real soon. Like personally, I haven't really played Roblox. I looked at it. It's very basic games on there, although they're releasing tools to make more complex game. But there's a huge player base behind it because it's a lot of kids learning to code and all that. It's popular. Fortnite has been popular for years now. It seems to be dropping a bit because there's saturation in that market. There's a lot of new service games that are coming out right now that are not picking up a player base because they tried to make a game that wasn't meant to be a live service and transform it into a live service.
Exactly. Look at Roblox. You're completely correct here, I think. Look at Roblox and look at Minecraft. None of those started as something to earn money on. It was just happy mistakes. It grew bigger. If you look at games like Far Cry 7 now, those are products. You have, like, back in 2002 and 2003 when I worked for Microsoft and DICE, even back then, 20 years ago, it was a science. How do you hook people up?
Yeah.
They talked about Microsoft having these centers where they film your hands, they film your eyes, everything, to see where you look on the screen, to see how you react to a certain game. And today that is like so deeply into science that it's close to gambling. Like,
if you
see what I mean? You need that dopamine kick. It's the same with TikTok, Instagram, etc. You need the dopamine kick when you open a loot box or whatever.
But if you look even at the discourse right now at PlayStation, which we know they're investing heavily into making service games, even they are saying they're expecting multiple of those service games to fail. They already know, like, their games are not released.
I mean, if you compare,
they knew from the get-go that a certain amount would fail, but they're trying to make it so that at least like maybe 2 or 3 of them out of 10 games will pick up a player base and will be.
I think the issue for all new service games is the fact that service games are, in their design, I mean, they're designed to be, you know, to hook a player, and then that is the main thing that player then plays. Whereas like I mean, me as a consumer, I can get into maybe 1, 2, possibly 3 live service games and like properly play them and engage with them and spend money on them. But more than that, and I I have to drop one of them because you can't keep up at that point. Whereas if you like a more classic game and like non-service game is more of a, like, it is what it is. You buy it, you play it, you maybe buy some DLC down the line, and that's it. And then you move to the next thing.
One thing is that service games are an evolution of something else we've seen, which is yearly iteration game. Like Call of Duty, well, they're making a service game out of it now with a Warzone, but it is in a sense a service game, as in Call of Duty is Call of Duty.
Yeah,
every year
Madden,
there's a new iteration
NFL,
coming
FIFA.
out. Sports games, also service games.
The Sims.
So
Sims
it's
5
pretty
is
much
becoming
the
a
same
service
principle,
game as
and
It's
those are still
a
profitable.
subscription.
Yeah.
It's a subscription.
But for the player base, what it means, a good service game like Fortnite has been for a lot of people, and there's other games out there that are super popular with a player base, that the player base get comfortable with that game. They enjoy the gameplay mechanic, the environment, and they keep expanding on it with the experience that they're comfortable with. And they're not out there exploring new games because That's the one they like. All their friends are playing that. So that's why some service games are paying off so much, because they have multiplayer elements built into them, and they keep expanding on content. Like Genshin Impact is extremely popular. It's still making a lot of money. That company is banking big time for making service games. Service games are not dying. Too many people are trying service games without knowing what they're doing. That's the problem.
But not even knowing what they're doing. Even if you make a good one, if you don't like grab a bunch of players from the other ones that are out there, you're not gonna survive. Like it's a competition for eyes. Whereas
we had two launched today. We had 2 launched today on the same day.
I mean, we have. Let's see here. This is one of them. Let's bring it up to big one.
I'm annoyed about this. This launch has been totally mismanaged, and I
just got a message. Like, while we're doing the show, I got a message from a friend of mine, be like, "Oh, you need to install this, but have your like chainsaw ready, when you make the review." Like,
the game had potential.
Wait, but your chainsaw?
Yeah, she had played 2 hours of it. It was like it is like this deserves
I love
such
this
a bad review. Like, I've been playing on my phone. It's decent. I haven't given it the time it needs to properly review it. Don't have an opinion yet, but yeah,
it's good. But there's some things that they've missed. Like, there's too much of a rubber band effect. If you're first, if you're last, it's always like bringing the players too close to one another. If you're doing a perfect race, you're still being like other players will still catch up to you, and it's way worse in Mario Kart.
I don't. Yeah, you think it's way worse than Mario Kart?
Yeah, it's pretty bad in this game.
Which is like, when I played on my phone, that was a good thing. If I haven't tried it on the console, like with the controller yet. I am gonna do that maybe this weekend.
Dude, I want.
And
that
I have
Jafar.
a feeling.
I want that Jafar with that car. That looks
I
so
have
sick.
a feeling that I will not enjoy it. Like, I enjoy it on my phone. I have a feeling I will not enjoy it on the console.
It feels really good to play. It feels
the thing is,
a little
like,
more
for
like
me, the gold
like
star
a Criterion
is
game than like
for me the gold star
Mario Kart.
is Crash Team Racing when it comes to kart races. Like, if you're not anywhere near Crash Team Racing, like this seems, based on what I play on my phone, this seems closer to Mario Kart, which is great on a phone with touch controls. But when you like on a console, I want something closer to Crash Team Racing, because that is
what is the discrepancy there?
It's mainly like rubber banding is one thing.
Okay.
I mean, all kart races are supposed to have a bit of rubber banding, but like, it's nowhere near, like, if you're really good at Crash Team Racing.
Exaggerating.
Because
Yeah, like,
I
if
would
you're
say
really good
that
at Crash Team Racing,
CTR
you
and Mario
can-
Kart are closer to each other than this game is to either.
I mean, from my experience on the phone, I need to full experience it with a controller, I think, to really have an opinion. But I'm skeptical but hopeful, because I mean, I love the idea of it, and I like it. It was fun to play on the phone. But I have a feeling it will not hold.
See, I'm an early adopter of this game. I got the $70 Founders Pack. I like it. Doing that basically let me circumvent a lot of the microtransaction bullcrap. I will make no apologies for them on the part of, like, if you go into this game with no monetary investment, it is going to be very difficult to, like, sort of grind it out. Basically, it's always going to be in your face that this is a freemium game, and that, you know, your time is basically money, and that it's going to take a lot of time because you're not putting down any money. But given that I've invested in this game, I'm like worried a little bit now that, like, this game's probably going to get shut down, because they've totally mismanaged this launch. I don't know really anybody that knows this is even happening. They did a lot more marketing when the game initially came out for a paid price than they are now, when everybody can jump in. And then they did a Twitch drop campaign as a foil, like with Marvel Snaps, which is, God, I didn't even realize it because I wasn't as, like, familiar with, like, Twitch drop campaigns, other than a few prior instances that I, dabbled in it a little bit. The Marvel Snap PC launch Twitch drop campaign is, like, probably going to go down in history as, like, one of the best game launches combined with a Twitch drop campaign ever. Like, I think me and another person, like, simul-rated Ray's channel with, like, 60 viewers combined. Like, there were so many eyes being brought into the game. Like, they masterfully coordinated the marketing campaign, the Twitter, releases, and the Twitch drop campaign to bring so much attention to the game. Meanwhile, this game launches free to play. Nobody even knows it exists. They're doing a Twitch drop campaign. Oh, and by the way, the Twitch drops, yeah, they're only on 5 channels of people we paid to play the game that have never played the game before in their life. Not the people that bought the Founders Editions and have been streaming it for the last 5 to 6 months. No, we're not giving those channels drops. We're going to pay some people with like 300,000 followers to play the game for like an hour, and that's the only Twitch drops that we're going to have all day. Meanwhile, My Ultra
I did
Rumble...
need to step out. Sorry, guys. I do need to step out and do a bit of parenting, but
no worries.
thanks a lot for the
Yeah,
invite.
thank you
It's
so much
been a
for being
great
here.
conversation.
Yeah.
It was
Welcome back
fantastic
anytime, man.
talking to you.
Nice meeting you guys.
Yeah. See you
Have a
later.
good one.
See you
And,
later.
thank you so much for being here.
I wonder about Speedstorm. My first thought is, who needs this? I think this looks.
as a like any parent with kids who like Disney stuff, meaning all parents, who also like I mean, kart racers are always fun. On paper, this should be great.
Yeah,
will
but
say,
there's
like, you guys-
60 billion other kart racers you can play that probably
Not
is
with this
better.
IP, though.
Yeah, but do you need Aladdin or could Crash be good enough?
To be fair, not counting Crash Team Racing, the best kart racer I've played in the last 3 years is probably the Paw Patrol one. It's pretty decent.
Yeah, but I mean,
and that IP, I tried it for the IP because at that time my kids were
This
really into
is a really good idea. Like, they're kind of doing the multiverses thing, but in an area that,
yeah,
in theory, it needs
the
it
jury's
more.
still out on the gameplay. I think if the gameplay has been properly nailed, then it's a great idea. And if the monetization is done in a sensible manner, it's a great idea. Any of those things falter a little, the slightest, and it all falls apart.
I mean,
It's a big gamble for them. I think.
There's loads of great ideas out there.
Yeah, and Neil, Avengers can be added to this.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Star Wars too.
Yeah.
Neil said there are too many big games at the moment. Who has time for a new live service game? I mean, for me, Speedstorm, I don't see any reason why I should play that, even if my kids love Disney, because my first take on this is that it will have all the IPs, the important IPs, but that's it. I mean, this is dressed.
It's like
I haven't played
it.
it,
Has
so
all if it plays like a great kart racer and it also happens to have all these great IPs, then whenever you're in the mood for a kart racer, what do you pick? Probably this one.
Yeah, but if it was a fantastic game that people raved about, you would hear about it. I've heard nothing about it, and I see game
Well, it
now.
did just come out for
weirdly
free today, so
Yeah, but
it's
season 4. I should have heard about it before. I worked with games.
6 months of you can buy in, and then it's like you can buy it, and we'll get you some cosmetics, and then when it launches, it will be free to play. So it's like
it's a very weird model, and it wasn't a good way to launch the game.
And they did the same thing with Dreamlight Valley. And it worked better there because I think that community was maybe like the cozy gaming community was maybe more open to it. But yeah, it's a weird way to launch games. It's like Gameloft is trying it the second time around. Didn't really
this was always a free game, and for them to have ever done a paid early access period was just weird. They should have done exactly what Multiverses did, which was it's free right now. If you want to buy a Founders Pack, great. It's $50, like whatever, but you can play the game right now. It was very weird that they did this marketing push, 4 or 5 months ago, and they were like, it's not free right now. It will be eventually, but you can play it now if you want to pay money. And everybody was like,
I guess I'll
no.
wait. That was my response.
Yeah.
I'll guess.
And then now nobody cares because Baldur's Gate and Starfield and Liza P is absolutely fantastic. Nobody cares about this game. So I'm totally with you guys on that. And then top it all off, My Hero Ultra Rumble comes out today, and they aren't doing dumb stuff as far as their Twitch campaign, and they are marketing it well on Twitter, and so they're completely outmaneuvering. This is My Hero. It's an anime IP, and they're outmaneuvering Disney. Like, what is with these Disney IPs like Avengers and like Disney princesses and stuff?
Yeah, I think
like,
Disney
can the
probably
people
needs
who have
some,
those IPs not do something productive with them, like, and be successful? Like, why are they being completely bungled like this?
It's not often you see a Disney IP that is a successful and good game. I'm not thinking about Guardians of the Galaxy now. That was a good game, but if you look at Disney, what was that Disney Animal Crossing type game?
Yeah, Dreamlight Valley.
Dreamlight
Yeah.
Valley is okay.
Yeah, but
it's a decent game, but it's doing better than it's like the game is doing better than how good the game is.
It's probably doing better than Avengers did.
Yeah, but they are still doing stuff that has been done. They don't do anything unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
and like I think Disney
when
needs...
do you see a unique Disney title? Disney's
Yeah,
doing
no.
the same
I
shit.
think, yeah, I saw
You
I think I saw like it was some a TikTok of like someone being like, Pixar is basically just doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, let's take something and turn it like, let's take emotions and turn it into characters. Like let's take cars and turn it into people. Let's
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
animals and turn it into people. Let's take elements and turn it into people. Let's take gingers and turn it into people. Let's take
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he has a point. So yeah, I mean,
What's his name? John Lasseter,
yeah,
the
I think
director.
I think Disney
Pixar.
needs to have a like. They probably have someone like head of gaming. They need to maybe reevaluate that and like properly decide what they want to do with their gaming
Yeah.
IPs and like
They
have
need they need to
management for
do market research and see what people want instead of saying here's what you get.
Well, and Dreamlight Valley is about as close as they could get with their audience. So I think they maybe hit it without trying
Yeah.
to, but at least they got out of the whole amiibo like toys diorama thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be a while until we see like I mean, this year has been crazy for games. I think the next couple of years might be a bit slower, partly due to the fact that the actors strike is now expanded to also include video game performances.
Even though the
Yeah.
actor strike is now, well, the writer strike at least.
The writer
now
strike is done,
over.
but not the actor strike.
Okay.
But yeah, but also like it's like the video game part is mainly focused on like it's more focused on the AI aspects of it. We were gonna have me and Matthias have planned such a good cool thing here. We were supposed to be playing a like AI voice clone clip of like some. I think we said Ryan Reynolds saying like promoting this segment of the show using AI. It didn't really work out because the servers for generating that was down. But like
I'm gonna see if I can.
So the idea is basically that the actors want, among other things, but what one of the main points is they want to have assurances in the contracts that people are not gonna studios are not gonna use their voices using AI clones and make more content with their voices without them being aware and paid for it. I think this came to a turning point when I think there was a lot of Skyrim mods that started using AI clones of the original actors. So they would add like new voice lines to the city guards using the same voice actors using AI. And I mean, for mods, I feel like it's more of a, I mean, that's a free product for like to just expand the game. That's, I would say, fine. But if Bethesda were to release a DLC using AI generated voices from these actors without their knowledge, that would be really shitty and grounds for suing, I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do
and it
that,
probably
then...
isn't today. Like they would technically, I think, be allowed to in a lot of these cases. And the actors are basically like, we just want in our like the contract with the union that if we do something with a studio, they're not going to use our voice to generate more of our voice without our involvement and knowledge and without fair compensation, which is completely fair. And I don't understand how that's not just being like, all right, let's sign there.
Yeah, I would hope that the progress with the writer's strike would sort of pave the way for
hopefully
other
it's
conflicts to
over
get
quick.
resolved. Yeah.
There's 98% of members approved the authorization of a strike, and it's a this is a great line from Fran Drescher. It's time for video game companies to stop playing games and get serious about reaching an agreement on this contract.
Oh my god,
that was a good line. But yeah, so essentially this means that any they have I don't think it's listed in this. Some companies listed here is like Activision, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Insomniac, and Disney as well was also listed as companies that they have been trying to negotiate with for quite a while, apparently since 2022, and the next bargaining session is scheduled for this weekend. Didn't really have like 5 rounds of bargaining, and it just doesn't happen, and nothing's happened so far. The compensation undercut by inflation, unregulated use of AI, and safety is basically the thing they want sorted out. Hopefully, they get their ass out of their shares and find an agreement here.
I have a question. So, what stops the game companies from instead of using Troy Baker, they might make an AI voice that sounds awesome, but it's not Troy Baker, and
they could.
not using actors at all?
Yeah, I mean they totally could. But I think, but then if the voice model that they like the voice data that they trained that on was an actor who's part of SAG-AFTRA, then they would have to compensate that actor for all the use of that AI. But of course, if they just took some random guy in the studio or just some random generated one, then sure. I think they totally could do that.
Borderlands 3 did that. Remember, they didn't bring the guy back that had done Claptrap for 1 and 2, and they just got some guy that worked at the studio to do it.
Yeah, and like they can totally do that.
I sent you a clip, Bjorn.
Oh, nice.
I could generate now, so let's see if it works. I haven't listened to it.
Yeah, we have no idea how this is gonna sound.
Okay.
No.
But we're gonna give it a try.
Yeah, this is the first.
What if it's like really good?
Could be.
I also think it's actually Owen Wilson. So I can change to Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah. So listen to it. I'm gonna do a Ryan as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna share, redo the share here.
You gotta check out Brock Players.
Yeah, let's see how this sounds.
All right, let's do that. Let's pause the music. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
This is Owen Wilson.
Hey there, YouTube. This is actually not Owen Wilson. He's way too handsome for showing up on Rokk Players, but using AI, we can clone his voice. No fucking wonder there is an actor's strike, eh? Let's talk AI and video game acting.
Yeah.
It's a little bit off. It's a little bit off.
But it's really close. It's a little bit off, but it's really good.
They don't quite have the way.
I did this now, so let's see if you can listen to this as well. This should be Ryan Reynolds, but I didn't change. He still says this is actually not Owen Wilson. Yeah. So try that one.
That is totally fine. Let's see.
It's not Owen Wilson. That is accurate.
Yeah. So listen to this. It took 20 seconds. I have cloned their voices. Don't sue me.
And I mean, for personal use, I don't see the problem. But for commercial use, it's a big fucking problem. So there we go. I think let's give it a go.
Hey there, YouTube. This is actually not Owen Wilson. He's way too handsome for showing up on Rokk Players.
It sounds like
using AI,
Joker.
we can clone his voice. No fucking wonder there is an actor's strike. Huh? Let's talk Hawaiian video game acting.
No, that's more. My father was a drummer.
I think that was awesome.
And the fiend.
Yeah, I mean, like that is. I mean, I don't know how much time you spend generating those clones, but like that, like if you had perfect recordings, you can do some really cool stuff. I think if you, I haven't gotten this confirmed. I've reached out to Ubisoft and asked, but they couldn't confirm it. But I'm pretty sure that like all the non-important characters in Assassin's Creed Valhalla's discovery mode, like the one where we can like learn more about the Viking Age. Like if you like the key characters are all voice actors, but I'm pretty sure that every single background character that you can talk to as well, that has like 1 or 2 lines, they are all AI generated. I'm pretty sure. Like they sound a little bit off, and that was developed during the height of COVID, so it would make sense.
Yeah,
that they can get people in the studios for it.
I mean, it goes so fast. Just write the script, input it into the engine, and just generate. And I mean, it's super fast. Let's see. I generated one in a second here with my voice. Obviously, my English isn't perfect here. It's better with the generated voice, but you can hear how my voice sound, and I trained it on I think 1 minute of video content. So let's see when it's done generating here.
Yeah, and like I've experimented with really early versions of this as well. Like basically just gave, I think Descript, a like editing podcast editing tool. Just basically like put all my videos in there as audio files.
Yeah.
Like, and that's with background noise and with like pretty bad like a worse mic than I have now, and this one isn't great either. And
Yeah.
with background music in a lot of cases as well. And it was like, here, train on this, and I didn't even go like, and it tried to like transcode, and I was like, I just ignored all the errors it made. Gave it like 1.5 hours of data to train on, and that sounded pretty good. I think I have even put the result in a video. It was like 2 minutes of me talking, and then I was like, yeah, and that was actually not me. That was just an AI. So like the technology is surprisingly good. Like I think especially if you do a sci-fi game, like if I
Yeah,
was an
it's
indie developer,
fantastic.
like if I was an indie developer making a sci-fi game about robots, and then put those robots in like essentially put that into make like generated
I
AI
bet they
voices,
did a
put
lot of
filter
that.
on it. No one would know. No, like no one would know the difference. Like that would make me as like a solo developer,
Yeah.
able to do a lot more with voice acting and in games, which is really cool and great for the media. But I also get the issue of like someone stealing your voice as an actor and then hearing yourself say things you've never said. Like there's some big issue with that.
If you want to release a game, Bjorn,
Yeah.
I give you permission to use my voice. There we have it. Try my voice now.
Yeah, let's share tab. That one.
See if it
All right.
works.
Hang on. I'm not sharing the adding it to the scene. There we go.
Hey there,
Handsome
YouTube. This is actually
is
not
right.
Owen Wilson. He's way too handsome for showing up on Rokk Players, but using AI, we can clone his voice. No fucking wonder there is an actor strike, hey? Let's talk AI in video game acting.
Let's talk AI in video
It's
game
only
acting.
it's only
that's
a
really
few.
close.
It's only a few words because it can't get your Swedish to English.
No, no.
And also there's also
But
certain
handsome,
words like
the way you say handsome, like that's very like we would say handsome. So the way
Yeah.
you say handsome is like it's got that down pat for sure. That's really cool.
yeah, exactly. I think Phoenix has it right. This is Matthias after he spent a few weeks in America.
Yeah, there we go. It's like the like in front of the bathroom mirror, like 3 weeks after
Yeah.
starting to watch Peaky
Yeah.
Blinders or whatever. It's
My-
like that. Like,
My English is actually better than my American English. If I would
that
speak
makes
like
sense.
this,
Yeah.
you're right. Have you got a fag, mate? He's a
Yeah.
bloody
You can't,
geezer.
you can't say that
You're
here.
right. You're right.
What you on about? Of course he can.
What you on about?
No, but
I
I mean,
used to
Oh my
live there
God.
for a year.
and I mean, like, it would be cool to have a tool in the future where you could like basically say like I wanted to do like say the things I'm saying, just switch my accent around to other things. Like now I want
It's-
to be Scottish, so please make me Scottish so I can talk some fucking Scottish.
Did you see the
Aye.
algorithms, the AI stuff that Spotify is working on?
Yeah, the whole
podcasts.
like live translation of like
Yeah.
you can listen to any podcast in any language with the original
Yeah.
voices cloned into another language. It's insane.
So it's basically this, but in real time.
Yeah,
And
which is
I mean,
impressive.
I've been a creative my whole life, doing art, music, etc. And I'm just stoked about AI. I think this is
I mean,
fantastic.
I think AI like the use cases of AI in games, and like and I remember like when especially combined with cloud gaming, like one of my favorite things ever on like the video game industry side of YouTube is the Google Stadia like developer showcase behind the scenes thing where like it was part of like Google I/O, I think it's or like Google for Games, where the head like the Erin Hoffman John, who was like head of R&D, said
Yeah.
like had a 30-minute talk just showing off some of the cool text they were working on behind the scenes. Like one of my favorites that I would like to bring up a lot of times is the whole game bus, which would essentially be like, oh, we're sending the frame rates are now dropping below a certain threshold, so you're just gonna spin up a secondary instance, and then have them like the game running on 2 servers instead of 1 server, and just even out the frame rate and do that like across like they could do. You can throw just no matter how much you wanted to throw it, it could just even out the frame rate to a stable 60 no matter what. That which was like really cool use of cloud tech. But then they also had this whole AI tool where they had like combined a bunch of AIs. So they had like they built this card game demo
Yeah, yeah,
where you would have two like where you could merge cards together. So you had like you had a bat and you had a T-Rex, and then you play those cards, and then you play the merge card and merge them into one, and then the AI would generate the new art for a hybrid between a bat and a T-Rex with
yeah,
a a new background to fit it. That would generate stats for the card based on the data, like a balance, make it a balanced card, and also then the AI you were playing against was basically a fork of the one that beat the champion in Go. So it would automatically adjust its difficulty to match your skill levels. If you were a new player, it would be just as bad as you are. But if
yeah, yeah.
you're a pro, it would be just as good as you were, and it would constantly be like estimating how its win chances after every single play, and tell you that, and do some shit talking as well. Like it had all of those things all in one little small demo, and like that is just as like and I mean that was just the tip of the iceberg of what can be done with AI. I know that Embark Studios have here in
Yeah,
Stockholm,
yeah,
they
yeah.
have their whole
There's
thing like
Spider
yeah, like they were basically like, here is a massive robot spider that is in the this upcoming game they're making,
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders, yeah.
Yeah,
So like in Arc Raiders there's this massive robot spider, like a mech, and when they did the animations for that, that was not handmade. That was like all animations usually are. They would basically just said,
I think
here
they.
is the
Okay.
mesh, and then it's like, you like this mesh should in this physics world should go from point A to point B. Figure out how, and then left it running over the weekend. Came back on Monday. They had figure out how to walk. And they're like,
Yeah,
good, exported animations. We now have the complete animations for this character, and
yeah.
they can do that with,
And
and they've even done that on like a bird who can
and
like created flying animations for a bird using that tech.
like saying that AI tools shouldn't be used is, I understand you have creatives like artists feeling threatened about now you can have paintings in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
But the thing is, like, gatekeeping game development and gatekeeping stuff, I'm not sure. I think it's interesting that someone that never studied game development or whatever have the tools to actually make magic. I think
yeah.
that's absolute.
I think like AI for the industry is great, but I also think like AI, as in any field, needs to be regulated, because it's one of those things that can easily spin out of control.
But I mean,
Um,
like all different business segments develop.
yeah,
It's like when they were scared about robots coming to the car factories, and people were like, "This is the end of society. Now we can't do anything." But you needed to have people building the robots. You needed to have people like creating other shit. It's the same thing here. You
yeah, and I'm not saying like we should regulation as in like we should stop it from happening or like slow it down. It's more of a like we just need to keep an eye on what like how it's developing and be like, oh, are we sure we want to go down this route? Like for like I mean, if you look at the political side of it, I mean the obvious example is like killer robots. Should we allow that?
yeah,
Might be a good idea to not do that.
that's a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. But and like this a similar thing within game, like the games industry, like, oh, an AI that can do this thing might be bad for the industry. Let's not go down that road. It's collectively
Or
like have
or, or
someone
it
regulate that.
or it
Whereas
might be absolutely fantastic for the industry. People not having
yeah,
go through crunch, etc.
and then have that be regulated. Like no, like it's making sure that that gets into the hand of people, like, and not it isn't locked behind a patent or something. Like no, this is like something that the industry would be very benefit from a lot. Let's just make
Yeah,
sure that this is available to everyone. That's also a form of regulation. I think that we need like there needs to be slight some sort of regulation in terms of AI within the games industry. But I think and I think like so I think it's good that we are having the SAG-AFTRA strike to regulate, get some sort of compensation, fair compensation for the actors that are like being used for AI purposes. But at the same time, like I think it's a good thing that we can do that we have the technology, and I think it should be put in the hands of more people.
yeah,
Even if it's like, oh, I will train my own voice and then I will have it to, like Ubisoft did with Watch Dogs Legion, where they had like maybe like 100 actors, and then they had the like automatic pitch shifting of these, and like using AI just shifting or algorithms just shifting their pitch around and making those 100 actors into 2,000 actors.
Yeah, modifying them.
Yeah, or like merging two voices together into a new voice and things like that. Like that is something that I think is a great thing for the industry. Obviously, that was like sometimes it shows through the cracks. But yeah,
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I would I worked as a sound designer, and if I would work in a like modern setting now, I would probably be involved in AI voices, etc. right now, like having scripts and then working on generating all this kind of stuff. It's sad because you take jobs from other people, but I mean, it's like I said, when the robots came to the
yeah,
Ford
it's like we're
factories.
closing the door on some people, but we're opening other doors for other people, and
Yeah,
the
and
net gain, like the end result is hopefully a positive one. It's
it,
hard to
it's it,
say. I mean,
yeah,
that it will be, but
it's like being pissed because people don't want to hear Åsa Jinder on nyckelharpa. Like it's Swedish folk music. People don't listen to it that much after the year 1850. But I mean, do you see what I mean?
yeah, yeah, no,
It's
definitely.
it's a natural. Um, yeah, they forgot to change it in the algorithm to British
Yeah,
accent.
more accents, please, algorithm.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's burn through some last pieces of news before we wrap up. 'Cause we're already going 15 minutes over the usual runtime. But if you have time for it, there's a few things that would be fun to cover. In a continuation of EA switch, like leaving the FIFA brand, FIFA 23 is now no longer available for purchase. It's only
yeah.
the new brand. That is very much a licensing thing. It's not like that's it. Um, the Activision Blizzard thing, the
That's
FTC
annoying,
is,
by the way, too, because it's gonna make the physical copies go up.
yeah,
I'd imagine.
yeah, it will. So
And I
FTC
was actually
plans,
gonna get FIFA 23 when
yeah, that will be hard
EAFC
to get
came
now.
out. So
But then, yeah, hopefully the
I mean, it won't be
EAFC will be
hard,
better.
but it's $30, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not trying to pay $30 for last year's game right now.
yeah.
So
The FTC plans to a new in-house hearing against Microsoft's acquisition. Microsoft also says that they still believe that the transaction will close by October 18th. So
Yeah.
we're almost done with this whole fucking thing. It's taking forever.
it's very interesting that this is in house though. Like I don't know much about how the FTC does internal tribunals, but I mean, I would assume they'd have to have a little bit of home field advantage, even if they claim it's impartial. So
Yeah,
that part is interesting to me, and we'll have to see how that
yeah.
goes.
And
But
then obviously the CMA have done a preliminary approval. And they also remain confident that the CMA will also approve it completely by the October 18th. So if like after what feels like 2 or 3 years or whatever it's been at this point, 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, I think.
2 years.
We're finally gonna see the end
God.
of the whole acquisition.
and we're
Yeah.
still not gonna get Diablo 4 on Game Pass, apparently.
No.
Netflix had a bunch of new drops. So some animated like this
Yeah.
is based on games. So Devil May Cry is getting an animated anime on Netflix.
I mean, I haven't seen anybody that doesn't think this looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean that it looks dope. Like
It
Netflix
looks
animations
cool.
are great.
Yeah.
It's not the same
Then we
people that did
have,
the Castlevania one, is it? Because that
I think it's
It
that
looks the
might
same.
be. Yeah,
yeah.
it might be at least a similar style. Then we have Tomb Raider becoming an anime. I'm down for that.
Mm,
Looks
yeah.
great.
This
Based
seems
on
like a
the
smart
reboot.
play to sort of counter the or as a alternative to like the very rarely do video games make good cinema. You know, you've got like your Last of Us and your Sonic to kind of
Yeah.
prove that it can be done, but I think for the
Yeah,
majority of properties, I'm glad basically that they're not, trying to make yet another Tomb Raider movie. The
I mean
last
to be
one
fair,
was like kind of mediocre,
I
but
enjoyed the latest one with
I mean,
Alicia
in no way
Vikander.
was it a bad movie. It
Yeah, it
just
was a fun movie. Like it's same as Uncharted movie was a fun movie.
Wha-
Like
wha-
was it Uncharted? Was
oh
it Uncharted? No,
no,
like
that
was it
movie
was it
was
Uncharted? Eh, I don't
That
know.
movie was
it fun? Yeah.
terribly cast.
To-
The
to-
casting for that movie was awful.
No, it was
Tomb
fun.
Raider, was it the one with Alicia
Mark
Vikander?
Wahlberg
Yeah.
is not Sully in any
No, but it
way,
was a
shape,
fun.
or form.
But it was a fun sidekick.
I guess that movie was
like-
made for people that haven't played Uncharted, basically.
Yeah, but people who hadn't played Uncharted loved it.
Yeah, but they didn't
Yeah.
go see it. That's why it didn't make a ton of money.
No, yeah, I think it made quite like a decent amount.
I'm sure
I
it
remember
did it.
correctly. I
It
think-
wasn't a colossal failure, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
it wasn't a
didn't light
failure.
anything
but
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the same thing with the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider. Well, it didn't like it.
She's
went
a
fine.
good actress and carried that film. But
Yeah,
yeah.
go Sweden.
Go
Yeah.
She's
Sweden.
Yeah, she's Swedish.
Um,
Then we have next Castlevania also getting a new anime show.
Yeah.
or a
Oh
new
god,
season,
that's
maybe.
like late 80s, early 90s style, isn't it?
Oh, that's a cool poster. Yeah.
Yeah, Nocturne.
That reminds me of like Berserk and a little bit of like Bleach, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit of Sailor Moon and Powerpuff Girls.
Then we have this thing
Okay, I
from
don't know about that
Ubisoft.
last one.
Captain Laserhawk.
Yes!
Won me.
This
Yeah.
Blood
this
Dragon
actually
remix.
is the Castlevania people.
Yeah,
that are
this is the
doing
Castlevania
this.
people.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
You
it's
saw
like
that guy's
Ubisoft-
presentation, right? The Ubisoft
Yeah.
thing. He was super weird. I loved it.
Yeah, and like there's a trailer out that I can recommend watching. It's like Rayman is a news presenter. There's a frog Altair guy. It's Altair frog. There's it's all over the place.
This
and
is
I'm
like
intrigued.
the definition of what the heck is going on.
Yeah, and the trailer was also like, what the heck is going on? I'm fine with it.
with
it will be
with a
fun.
little
I
bit
love
of
it.
like space dandy flair.
Yeah, and it's like
maybe.
Cyberpunk meets all of Ubisoft in one like
I love it.
bowl.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like
That's the
you
best
have,
thing
like, it's
Ubisoft
like,
has done in.
yeah. So
in
imagine a
ages.
bowl of cereal, but instead of cereal, you have everything Ubisoft have ever made, and instead of milk, you have Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
And you have
I
this
love
show.
it.
And
Hey,
yeah, so the full list of
the one
announcements.
the prequel to Sparks of Hope was pretty good. Mario
Yeah.
Rabbids.
So the full like list of things they've announced of new animations is Castlevania Nocturne, Devil May Cry, Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, Sonic Prime, Captain Laserhawk, and I think Captain Laserhawk is out now, like out
Really?
today.
Okay.
Blue Eye Samurai, Pluto, new Masters of the Universe, and then a new Scott Pilgrim. All of that dropping, coming soon or being available already.
Nice.
And then
Really good
so-
titles.
Yeah, so they're going hard on the animation announcements. Boostroid has added to their service Halo Infinite, Quake 2, Rage, and Doom 2. But also a bunch more games. Magic Arena, Rubber Bandits, Control, Warhaven, Lies of P.
Is that Game Pass?
Then I
This is
haven't
Boostroid.
checked, to be honest.
Yeah, but is it Booster or Game Pass?
I haven't checked. Might be.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up for next week.
I was thinking of Lies
can
of
look
Lies
now,
of P.
Hang on.
Which is excellent, by the way. I don't know if you guys have played that or discussed that earlier in the show, but fantastic. Playing it right
Let's
now.
take a look.
It seems good.
With the caveat that I have not played Baldur's Gate 3 this year.
Oh,
so-
good
so-
man. Baldur's
so
Gate
if we-
3.
If we pretended that Baldur's Gate 3 did not exist and Lies of P was made by From Software and had the From Software name, same game. Like if it's the same exact game, but it's just like
Yeah.
made by From Software, it's game of the year. Like
Is
it's
it
that good.
Li-
If Baldur's Gate
Lives
3
or-
did not exist and the From Software name was behind Lies of P, it wins game of the year. But
Yeah.
Let's
Baldur's Gate 3 does
go
exist, and it
new.
probably will win Game of the Year, which I said on this show that it would not, thinking that Starfield was going to be a lot better than it was received. I guess debatably it's good or bad, depending on what you
Since
were
be the
looking for.
Steam version of Lies
Yeah,
of
I said
P?
Baldur's Gate too.
I
Yeah, so it's
think
the
I
Steam
was
version of
wrong.
Baldur's Gate. There's a Steam version of Lies of P on Boostroid.
Lies of P
Um,
is better than some From Software games. And really just because of age. Like, so if you take like Dark Souls Remastered and Dark Souls 2, I would say that Lies of P is a better Souls game to jump into now in 2023 than those games are. You've still got your Sekiro, your Elden Ring, those
Yeah.
are cream of the crop. But
I
and
think-
Bloodborne, even until they patch Bloodborne for PS5, I mean, this is kind of a better way to experience that type of game. You know, and I love Bloodborne wrong side. I love Bloodborne. I checked. I have over 300 hours in that game. Apparently, it's insane. It's an amazing
Yeah.
game. But it just doesn't run well by today's
For me, I think
standards.
it's like, I mean, like Baldur's Gate 3 is to me not only the best game of the year, it's the best game I've ever played of all time.
That's what
Like,
everybody
it's
keeps saying to
Ro-
me. The
it's
the game's
and,
pitch
like
is once you buy and play this game, all other games are ruined for you. And I'm
pretty
like,
much, yeah. No,
that's
but
not really
or not
motivating
even
me to go out and
not
spend
even ruined. It's
70
more like
bucks.
not even ruined. It's
So
more like it's more like, oh shit, this is how good it can be. Like, I still
yeah,
enjoy every other game. It's like,
is
oh wow,
this what games should be about?
yeah.
Like Rock
It's
says, so many great games this year. This has been the best year of gaming probably
hey, there he
ever.
is.
yeah, definitely.
Probably ever.
Yeah,
2007.
I think I saw a TikTok
No, 97.
today about where some woman summarized why, like, Baldur's Gate, why it's so great in such a fun way. But basically, like, she was like, I bought this game because I wanted to smooch with a demon lady. I did not expect that demon lady to have the equivalent of a fantasy heart failure, and be like so emotionally invested that I'm active, like crying daily, like every single time I played, I cry over the fact that she has heart failure, and we're just like, my character and this character is just two people trying to make, like, who just want to live normal lives, and like, how is this so emotional? And
It
like,
is.
I just wanted to smooch a demon lady.
Yeah,
You and your mods, Rock. Oh my goodness! Don't do God mode. Like, you can do some mods, but you
But like, at the
gotta
same time, like,
to experience a Souls game. You've got to at least have a little bit of fear of death. And you said that kind of ruined Remnant 2 for you. Remember, Rock? So do some mods, make yourself a little stronger, make things a little bit easier. Don't do that God mode, man. You gotta still, like, it's gotta be up here mentally. You gotta always be like, oh man, I could lose all my progress right now. That's what makes these games fun.
for me, it's a case of, like, I understand where it's coming from, because, like, in order to, I think in order to enjoy a Souls, like, you kind of need to get good at the game, right?
yeah.
And I don't
And
have
then
the
you feel
time.
like you're good. Like,
Yeah, but
that's
like,
the
I
satisfaction
don't
is you're
have
like, oh
time. I don't have the
yeah.
time to get good at the game. Like,
Yeah, but you have the
simple as that.
time to play like 100 hours of Baldur's Gate, probably.
No,
Yeah, but
I
that's a
played
good
30.
game.
I played 30. No,
So is
like,
Liza P.
here's the thing. I've played Baldur's Gate 3 more than any game I've played this year, I think, and I played like 35 hours since
Yeah.
it came out, and that's a lot for
I'm
me.
not kidding you guys. I think Liza P is the best game to come out this year, not on Nintendo. I really do. So, and the people that are in the Souls community that stand from software that have searched far and wide for the next developer that can sort of replicate that experience, they are, they're out there proclaiming that. These sort of IGN, GameSpot, reviewer types, they're kind of like, oh, this is like a good, this is a good alternative to that, give it a 7, give it an 8, whatever. The people that, like, really, really wanted one of these games to come from somebody other than From Software, because I mean, the well only has so much, right? They can only make so many games.
Yeah.
And sometimes they maybe want to focus a couple of years on, like, an Armor Core or something. So we can't just rely on them if we like these type of games. And all these alternatives have felt very generic and sort of knockoffy. This one is just like, it's so good. If you told me this game was made by From Software, I would just be like, okay. Like, I wouldn't even question you at all. It's the quality is there. It's evident.
And lastly, I just wanted to add to the list of news that I'm not going to go through the list of games. GeForce Now has added 26 games this week, up from, like, 10 last week. It's now 26 this week. There's some great games in there as well, and that is not including adding also they're updating Cyberpunk and adding the DLC. So GeForce Now is with GeForce Now, you can easily play with path tracing on in Cyberpunk and still get solid frame rates.
They've got Dordogne.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce that game. I know it is.
Same.
Dordogne.
Okay. But yeah, they have some great games in there. I Am Fish. Also great. No, but Doom also, like Doom Eternal, Bramble the Mountain King, What else in here? Plague Tale Innocence from the from Game Pass.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Road 96 is good.
Yeah, and Road
Well, now
96.
Plague Tale Innocence the first one?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay.
so
Still good,
basically,
but yeah,
and it's
unfortunate
like
that
the PC Game Pass version as well. So if you have PC Game
Requi-
Pass and
yeah,
you have
unfortunate
Requiem
that it's
is
not
the
Requiem. That would have been the
second.
better get. Hopefully, GeForce Now gets Dragon's Dogma 2 day and date. Hopefully, the Dragon's Dogma
yeah, we'll
coming
see.
to it was
I'm
sort
also
of the heralding
hoping.
of that.
Yeah, I'm also hoping we're getting City Skylines day and date with PC Game Pass.
Yes. Yes.
That is
Yes.
coming
Yeah,
out
but
October
I heard that
26th.
was delayed on console.
Yeah, the console version
unfortunately.
is, but that's the game. That's the game you want to play on PC anyway. Like that's
Yeah.
it's
PC
like the
Game
console
Pass.
version works.
PC Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that one.
Speaking of which, for creators, if we got any creators watching, and you guys as well, on a Keymailer, they have started doing month-to-month Game Pass keys on
Oh,
Keymailer
really?
to request. Yeah, for PC only, but yeah, they've done
Interesting.
some. I don't play on PC, but yeah, that would be
I'll have to take a look at that.
seems useful. Save yourself $17 a month or whatever it comes out to. So yeah.
Yeah, I should probably take a look at that. But yeah, there's a lot of fun things coming. But speaking of fun things coming,
What is he doing?
what are you doing with this?
I'm taking the camera loose.
It doesn't look like you are.
I am.
So while Matthias
taking
is
a
doing
minute.
that, Kirk, why didn't you pitch what you have going on for the foreseeable future?
So as usual, I'm gonna go live on Twitch right after this for our lovely 6 people that are watching. If you wanna come on over, I'll drop the link in the chat.
I think
yeah, I'm
drop
gonna
it to me because I don't think you can drop it in the chat.
Oh,
I
my
think that's
bad.
blocked, but I think I can. So
Yeah, I can send it to you. I don't know how to send it. Oh, there it is. I think. But yeah, I'm gonna check out the since Dizzy Speedstorm is bungling the whole Twitch drop campaign. And I'm an avid My Hero Academia fan, probably my favorite anime. Yes, I know that's like a garbage take and like saying I really love McDonald's more than any other restaurant, but I don't care. It's my comfort food, and I really like that anime, and I think it's good and it's fun. And they came out with like a Fortnite, but it's like a beat 'em up. And yeah, I don't know how long it's gonna be here. I played it for like an hour before I went to work, and it's good. It's fun, and the music's really good. It sounds like they got the English voice actors or really good sound alikes.
It,
So like
it,
the authenticity is there. So I'm excited to check that out on stream. And there's drops obviously. So
is that Bandai Namco?
it is. It's by King who made
Yeah.
the arenas, which those are some of the better sort of generic arena fighter anime games. Like those are probably the cream of the crop out of all of those. Not that they're amazing or anything, but I think they're the best that sort of genre has to offer are the ones that they've made. So, and this seems like a better use of their talents. It is live service and has the freemium aspect to it, but just the gameplay loop of it being sort of a jump into the training. It's like the UA training center if anybody's watched the anime, and it's doing the Fortnite thing with that. It just makes more sense for like the lore of the show to do it like in this type of game. But
yeah,
what are you
I have
doing?
I have a
he's the magic of
Halo.
Halo.
Oh,
But Matthias, Matthias, with your Halo, what do you have going on in the upcoming on your content wise?
I need to record a video about a review of this one that I showed.
It's a for those of you who missed it. It's a power it's like a
Power
battery.
station.
Yeah, it's a power station.
EcoFlow power station. If you like hiking or playing video games in the woods, this is perfect. I'm gonna try this with the Ally and the Steam Deck to see how long I can play. And then I will be doing. Now I'm plugging all the stuff here. I will be doing some TomTalk reviews of a few bags here.
nice.
Then I need to go through the XG mobile card that I borrowed from Asus. I'm going to do also, I think I said that last time, I'm going to do a comparison of Starfield between native, modern native, XG mobile, and GeForce Now. But I haven't got, you know,
I
I
got a
haven't.
friend that's
time.
playing Starfield on his Xbox One via cloud with fiber, and he says it's pretty good.
It is.
with fiber anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
it's
I've been playing like I play everything cloud pretty much, and it's pretty great.
Borrowed.
Uh,
yeah,
but
I,
I
I
mean,
actually did. I have to send it back.
yeah,
Mm.
we can talk to Matthias over days. So maybe he can indefinitely extend that loan. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I get to borrow it till the end of October, which is kind of sad. But to be frank, I don't like this XG mobile. It's
Oh well,
I would rather buy the cheaper 2022 one. I think that costs $700, and this one that is older cost like $1,000 or $1,100. And I don't think this is worth it. In Starfield, I got like 15 frames per second or something like that.
Mm,
Better with that one than native.
mm.
Yep.
yeah. As for myself, I'm. What am I doing? Dragonbane on Tuesdays. We skipped this week because I was feeling a bit under the weather, but we should be back next week. And the Rock Place on Thursdays. I'm working on a like Baldur's Gate script that's gonna take ages. I have a script that I need to edit about the demise of Stadia and like a look back at Stadia, which would be fun to edit, but again, time. And then Tuesday, not next week, but the week after that, Tuesday the 10th, I'll be doing some streaming for charity.
Yeah.
It's the Global Mental Health Day, October 10th, and I've been talking to Ubisoft. We can maybe get some giveaways we can from Ubisoft that we can do for the campaign. Amongst those who donate, it will be a I think I picked the Tim Berding Foundation, which is the foundation that Avicii's parents set up after his suicide to
Yeah.
invest and fund things like suicide prevention hotlines and research and lobbying for mental health worldwide. But I mean, mostly in Sweden probably, but they are working worldwide, so definitely worth checking out. So
It's
yeah,
it's for mental health, right?
yeah, it's a global mental health day. The World
Yeah.
Health Organization's global mental health day on October 10th,
Yeah.
and any content creator is more than welcome to join in and co-stream, so to speak, or like basically stream whenever you want, or like drop content whenever you want during that day, and send people over to the fundraiser, and then or make your own fundraiser if you want to. But anyone who donates to the fundraiser I'm doing is in the running for some game giveaways. Essentially.
I'll say here and now, I will help you out with that as much as you want.
Yeah, you're more than
I'll be
welcome to.
I'll be a slave to the whole campaign. If you can just get Ubisoft to fix my stupid account.
Oh yeah, you have your some account issues with Ubisoft. Yeah, I know.
Oh my god.
Um,
Man,
yeah.
I've been
So
talking with support for 2 weeks. I swear to God.
account
It's
stuff
so
is
bad.
surprisingly hard to sort out.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
hoping.
I'm convinced they just have chat GPT on the other line. Just put me through a
Yeah,
cyclical
no, I'm hoping
nightmare.
I can get some.
Yeah.
It looked like we might be able to get a key for Assassin's Creed Mirage to give away, and possibly also one for the crew. So
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
fun.
We can talk about that, and I can see what contacts I have. And
Yeah.
I would also suggest something, Bjorn. It would be cool to stream with you, do a dual stream where we play the same game, but we play it single player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
If
Especially,
we,
especially if
that
you
is
were like
fun.
racing or something.
Like we did a similar thing on the Baldur's Gate release day. When me and SPG and Ninja X jumped in, we were essentially playing all was playing Baldur's Gate. I was
exactly.
switching between which screen we were showing showing on the stream, and then while we were doing that, we were essentially just we were going to the
Talking.
same we were talking. We're doing the same
Exactly.
going to the same area, doing the same thing, but showing it through different versions of it. It was a really fun thing to do. We should do more of that for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
We can
and
talk about it. I want to
we
do
can
that.
sort it out. We should definitely do that. And also, like, I mean, this is I feel like this is sort of like the little brother of my big February event, because in every February
Yeah.
I'm doing a 3-day event like this, essentially the same thing, like just a massive fundraiser for mental health. So we're doing one now in October, and then we're doing.
You've
the
got to
big one in February.
capitalize on the whole the Taylor Swift craze going on right now.
Yeah.
And, like, somehow
Yeah, I
get
should
those
do
people
a.
over.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
I should do a like a Taylor Swift live stream as well for the campaign as well.
Man, people
I-
are
I'm just gonna
going.
have
She goes to
make
one
sure I can
football
fit it in
game and
my
people
schedule.
go absolutely nuts.
If
It's
you,
wild.
Bjorn, if you do a live stream, like I'm doing a live stream where I'm dancing to all the tracks in like a marathon, you're dancing
Yeah, no,
to all of them.
I don't know.
That would be a world record. Trust me.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think. I think that would put people off, to be honest.
No. I would be there.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing some
Look,
shared streaming. It's been a while.
look in the chat.
Yeah, I know Miss Felix wants to see that. No,
Yeah.
I might. But I will definitely though bring out for
Bjorn's
the.
like, gonna ruin my whole
Yeah.
campaign here.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna bring out my hot sauces though. So if we reach
Oh,
a
Your
nice.
certain
hot
donation,
sauce, Bjorn.
exactly,
You
and like
bring
if we reach certain donation goals, I will willingly eat some last dab hot sauce. The hot like 2 minutes ago will.
Miss Phoenix, he will bring out his hot sauce in the
Not
dance
hot
video.
sauce, the hot sauce. The
Oh, you
hottest one in the
saucy
world.
boy.
Yeah,
You're
and on
so
that
What's the
note,
sweetest thing? I am so lost.
might be a
Het
Swedish thing.
sauce.
And with those strange eyes from Miss Felix, I'm gonna roll the outro. So thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out Ally Gaming, Kirk the Gamer, and also Dr. Spaceman. We love having you here everyone, and see you next week.
See you guys on
Bye-bye.
Twitch.